Welcome on, welcome to the stream. Welcome. We're here to play some marbles today. If my computer holds up, it's being technically challenged today. I think it's the weather. Hold on, here we go. Hi guys, welcome everyone.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
My computer's being angry. It's being angry right this minute.
Probably because of
it probably needs a Snickers.
All it
It's
does.
so hot in here that it's like freaking out. It's
I really, yeah. You have a fan, you can just blow on it.
After I open it up,
Take the side
magical
off.
key. It's just gonna take this whole side off.
Oh my
because I
god.
was
Oh,
like,
well,
really?
I have that key too.
Coin.
Yep.
I have the same key.
Yeah.
Yours
it's
doesn't use thumb
magic.
screws? Oh no.
No, mine uses a coin to
Mine
one little
uses-
thing. Right here
Oh,
holds
to
the
take the
whole,
tempered glass. Yeah.
the whole glass
Yeah,
on, so
Huh.
Whoa, I can see us all.
Yeah.
I said, don't
Oh
show
no,
it.
I
was
appeared
getting,
on stream. Shoot.
I was getting naked at that exact moment.
they can't really see that well, but yes, they probably saw your slight reflection, guys. Hi everybody, it's
Dude, I was
Shane.
changing.
Welcome. Hi Shane. I'm gonna play some marbles as soon as this thing.
We're gonna be all goofballs because I feel it.
Why it's being so spicy? It hasn't even been on that long.
Did you take it out for dinner or anything? Because it might
I think it's just
be
because
mad
it's
at
so
you.
hot today. It got like 98 here today. My house is like 75 though, but I told you even I felt hot, so I guess I don't get that hot, but the computer's definitely hot today.
Man, my computer doesn't complain that way, but
It's not happy, so I don't know.
It'll be alright. Your PC can run at basically 100 Fahrenheit for extended periods and be fine.
Yeah.
it's just a little. I don't know.
It's just spicy. The reason I know it gets hot
you
is
talk
because
to
it lights up red when it's hot. it's like yeah, it's hot.
It's like I've got a mood, alright?
It does. And this
did you
glass
talk-
gets so hot you almost can't touch it. That's how hot it gets.
Did you talk
Yes.
to it? Because you might have to talk to your.
I don't think my liquid cooling system is working properly.
Mm-mm. But they had that one leak, and then you changed it, and then
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're-
might have to rechange the like paste or whatever that stuff's called.
The thermal
Yeah, the
paste.
thermal paste.
Yeah. It might be time to like take it off and redo the thermal paste.
I don't know. I've had mine since 2014 and
I haven't redone mine.
I didn't redo mine until it exploded, so I don't know. My computer just
did you put like a pea-sized amount on there or more? Somewhere around that amount?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
put
I
two
did.
You're
I watched
fine.
all the
You're fine.
videos and did it.
You're
yeah,
fine.
it's not gonna explode. But is there such thing as too much liquid too? I don't know.
This is an
Um,
all-in-one cooler, right? Like
Yeah, I didn't put the liquid in myself. It was already.
yeah. No, you should be fine unless your pump has died. Which is unlikely.
might be a
Again,
problem.
I've had mine for years and years and years.
Right.
I don't have it.
I don't know. I'm just like wanting this thing to like my goal is to buy a PC at the end of this year, maybe. Like Black Friday
Instead
specials.
of liquid, we'll get you like a Noctua cooler. They're really good. They're just huge.
Yeah.
So yeah. And thank you for
I
the
was
thumb
looking at one of
turtle.
those.
Thank you for the 50 months. Thank you. But yeah, my
Mine
goal is
was
to
so
catch
big
a
that I
Black
couldn't
Friday
move it with
deal.
it attached.
So I hope to catch a Black Friday deal and get me a computer if I have the funds.
Hearing myself. Well,
I
when
have
you
it.
go to build a new one, let us know. We'll help you pick the parts.
Okay. That's what we have to do. I
And
need
guess
help.
what? Mona will have someone, hopefully, nearby to help her build it.
Yeah.
Somebody to go do stuff with. That's what I'm excited about.
I know.
My friends unfortunately canceled again this weekend because life. It's not their
You s-
fault, really.
You know, you said
One-
that last
one
week, though,
is-
that they would.
Yeah, I did. I called it. One has a sick baby, and the other one's 85-year-old grandmother invited her to lunch, which it all worked out to be fair because I had family invite me to lunch as well. So it was just not meant to be this weekend. So they're gonna try
Was it
again
your
next
brother?
weekend.
Was it your brothers who invited you to lunch?
No, it was my parents.
Oh.
So that was a
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah. So I couldn't really say no to them either. So we were just all screwed
you
this
could've.
weekend. Yeah.
I do it all the time.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You don't talk to my parents. It's just because I forget to.
I'm like, nah, that ain't
Yeah.
happening.
I
So I
think
came
about
up
it,
for
and then I just
lunch and
completely
had a
forget
little
to
nap.
message them.
Okay. Computer has stabilized to a normal temperature. We might just be leaving the glass off until I get a new computer at this point, at least during the summer, because it's just
You might
so
just need a
hot.
different case.
Not even that. It's maybe just the fans. Maybe you need to reorient them so it's
Oh yeah.
either pulling or pushing air, depending on what it's currently doing.
It has so many fans and it's so open aired as it is without like really any.
Are they
Maybe
all
it being
pushing or pulling?
slightly
Or
dusted.
pushing?
I don't know. It's not really that dusty either, so I don't know.
We'll figure it out another time. You're
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna play. I just gave it a hot minute to cool down. Honestly, I feel like probably the startup screen probably pulls more energy than playing the game, I feel like. It just got mad when I turned on that other game.
Well, like I said, do you talk to it? Because you might need to talk.
I think I need to
Give
talk
it, like, a little
very
pet.
nicely.
Yeah. It's like
You're such a good
It's a-
computer. I'm not gonna replace you. I'm just getting you a twin. Yeah, no, a sibling.
Yeah, that's
You're
the thing, you
okay.
keep
You can have
saying-
a little baby brother.
you
Yeah,
always
you're just
say,
gonna have
"I'm
a
gonna
baby
replace
brother.
you."
It's so-
That might
it's all
hurt his
good.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I plan on keeping this one up and running because I'm gonna make one my work computer and one my stream computer. So obviously, I still plan on using this baby as long as it stays alive.
Oh,
Well, it's good. Yeah, call it baby because it might help. It might cool it down.
you're set up for a different stream.
What?
Your camera, the chat, everything's covering. Well, it doesn't matter.
Covering all the balls and the
Yeah.
art rotations. Yeah, we'll fix it.
Yeah. It's fine.
We'll fix it.
There's not really an optimal thing.
I'm just
for
being
marbles.
selfish. I want to see the different marbles.
You don't get to see any of the marbles. Nope.
Yeah,
nope.
no
There you
marbles
go.
for you.
No soup for you.
There you go. Now you can see them all, technically. And then the rotation thingy is off. So, yes.
There we go.
Now I gotta move this chat box too. Down here.
You got some small.
Hey,
There we go.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna use that one tonight.
Whoa.
So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for playing. We have Desi, Lady, Stunts,
they
Shane,
expanded
Dreams,
the housing plot on Talia.
Michigan. Ooh, so you can have a bigger house.
Yeah, but I can't stay on here anymore. Talia is the reason why things are breaking.
Oh, because it's ended
Yeah.
up the way it's built. No,
So I'm forced to play it on my Switch.
that's like when I had to stop playing New World because I need a new baby. I need a
Whoa,
young
don't
one.
tell it
It
that.
wasn't even
Jesus.
that. It's for whatever
okay,
reason,
computer, it's
something in
okay.
Talia was breaking something important in my computer software.
Mhm.
So I was like, well,
What's up?
It's okay, computer. Promise.
Maybe you take your PC out for a walk. I don't know.
July. Let's see, July, August, September, October, November. 4 months away.
We all got our balls out there.
9 seconds. 39 seconds. Poor Desi. Desi gets a crispy booty.
oh,
Oops.
so there's
Type
so
in.
much more fishing area.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Okay, that makes up for it. Desi gets the hugs and the cookies too. Cookies, add
I just don't want to kiss a bot.
500 cookies.
Okay, I didn't kiss
Yes,
a
you
bot.
do.
At least this
Yes, you
time.
do.
You were less likely to kiss a bot. Oh, also, guys, ask the 8-ball questions. Just do it, do it, do it. I added the 8-ball bot, but it's a unique 8-ball bot.
What do you have to do to?
It's in the stream chat. It says exclamation 8-ball. So you just like, will I such and such, and then do exclamation 8-ball afterwards.
Well, afterwards?
Fantastically,
I would
yes.
kind of like you to get out my way, please.
Yes. Catastically, yes. Email says, you bet your whiskers. Did not finish, no. Tessie. Don't jinx yourself.
Now I hope he does.
So yeah, it's customized. I'm slowly conforming all my bots into cat bots, so.
Hell yeah.
I mean, we already have cat fight and boss fight that's, you know, a mercat, and now you've got the 8-ball. Will I make it through the week tomorrow? Exclamation 8-ball. It doesn't even respond. No, you might have to
Hold on a
type
minute.
it again. It might have a cooldown that I have to fix.
It could be a cooldown because.
Come on,
Yeah.
Can you
It's supposed to be 1 minute.
Can you? Sorry, I'll rephrase my language. Can you zoom out so that we can see everybody?
No, fuck you.
I
Why are you
don't
being so
see you.
demanding?
Oh, you
I
already
wanna know
won,
where the
that's
hell I
why. You already won, that's why.
Yeah. What the fuck are the chances in that?
Yeah, you
actually
already
pretty
won.
much.
And Desi got second.
That's
But
what
you
he
didn't
said.
beat Mono's
Sounds about
time.
right. Try
Mona has a
again.
better time than you do.
Try again,
Yeah,
Shay.
I'm
Try
fucked.
again.
2 seconds.
I have a
Plus 2
question,
seconds.
but I have to make sure he goes first.
Next map. Exclamation play, guys. Exclamation play.
I will, but I have to get my charger so I can charge my Switch because now I really want to play Talia.
I have a question once he
Alright.
gets done with his question.
I'm gonna start. 1 minute on the clock.
Oh shoot, I have to.
He might have stepped away. Whoa!
I guess I'll do this one because
Spaceship is waiting. Will I make it? The 8-ball says sorry. It's a forget it.
yes, I got fucked. I
Forget
told you.
it.
Forget
Forget
winning.
Go.
I knew my life. Sorry. This 8-ball sucks. Can you take it back?
No. It's catastic.
No, take it back. I want another 8-ball. This one is not, it's not moving right.
Sorry, did I take a call? Did I hear my name? We told you to try again, Shane, because the bot didn't respawn.
Yeah,
we were waiting on you to go. We were waiting on you to go.
I literally 15 seconds ago I did it, so I don't know how it will. Oh, okay, guess what it is.
Looks like it might rain.
Yeah, it's a yes.
Why does everybody have positive and I get fuck you?
Well, Destiny got a
You
fuck
got
you
that.
too.
'Cause I'm not very good at saying that version.
Why do you hate me? I'm gonna say that.
Oh
What a
no,
yes or
who's
no
getting
question,
teamed up?
Guy.
It also says, will I get a bonus this year?
At first, I thought it was saying "nya."
Will I survive work tomorrow?
Nah.
Not sure. Please
Please
ask
ask me.
again.
Oh my God.
Please ask again.
Not sure, Priya. Okay.
Holy.
Oh no.
Hey,
Don't.
actually, it
don't.
says ask again, so go ahead and ask again. 'cause
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
go
not
ahead
sure.
and ask again, Shane. You gotta ask one more time.
Maybe
Oh,
Michigan,
no.
do not go into the light, Michigan. Don't go into the
I
light.
will because
Michigan.
Going.
I am sick and tired.
Oh,
You got lucky.
No, they don't
what?
even want me. Even the aliens are like, fuck that, fuck you.
Bye, Flynn.
Slits!
Oh no,
Enjoy-
I've been
enjoy
abducted.
You're gonna get
Enjoy your-
probed again.
Yeah, enjoy the probing.
This makes sense. I watch a lot of Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, they took you. I was like, don't probe me, I'm out.
Let's see. Now they're going down to Dreams. Let's see what happens. Oh, Dreams got away. Oh, it's going over to Desi. Desi, watch out. Don't go into the pink light, Desi. Don't go into the pink light. Oh, why do you
Oh
hate
no,
me?
dude! The 8-ball is not on your side.
Magically
No, fuck
unclear.
this ball.
What you get?
I'm gonna throw this
I
ball.
was thinking of
Desi, you gonna get in there?
Threco there.
Desi fell out. It just keeps telling him to Shane to ask
He asked the
again.
same question but worded differently, and it's still like, yeah, I don't know.
Remy in Michigan, yes. Magically unclear. Makes you want to say magically unclear. Makes me want to say what? Magically delicious or something.
It's magically delicious.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Snappy. Thank you for the 16 months. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Dude, you just got denied by
I
the
hope
8-ball.
you're doing good.
Wow.
Oh,
This
you're
is the
awesome.
story of my life.
I'll take my good outcome and never ask it a question again.
I'm fighting the 8-ball. Like, F you.
Hey,
I got a maybe.
this is crazy.
Maybe. Call me.
Right.
Yeah. Alright, join. Still join.
Oh, I guess we lost Joff.
I got a maybe, so.
But yeah,
that's
thank you
good.
for the hype and Snappy.
He
Thank
just
you
went
so
into
much.
AFK.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll be back.
You're
Yeah.
awesome.
He went to
Thank
walk
you for the
doggo.
sub. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being here. Okay, what is it? 8-ball date question?
I got a
Fortunately,
maybe.
Maybe. Are
I
you
got
trying
a
to date the
maybe.
8-ball itself?
Yeah.
Well, Nidorina.
Like I said,
Oh.
if it was
Alright, if
giving
you-
me all these signals, so I had
Oh
to
no, you'll be
give it up
proud.
a
I'm
bit.
drinking water too.
Alright, if you guys
Water.
are... I am proud of you.
I'm not.
You...
Because I have a headache.
You need to take another swig of that Martinelli's. It's classic.
Yeah.
Raina's drinking and I'm not drinking. That's so weird.
No, it's not. It's apple
No.
cider. It's apple cider.
Sparkling cider.
Oh, that'll definitely give you a headache. That's so full of sugar.
No, I've had a headache for a while. Boys can tell you, I literally went and laid down for a little bit before I came back.
30 seconds. Shane got his booty burnt. But
No, I'm
poke
just
catch,
giving
guys,
you
if you're
shit
catching
because I
Pokemon.
fell asleep. I don't think I did. I was just resting my
Oh
eyes.
no.
I heard
This
him the
sounded like
entire
Dad on
time.
the couch. I'm just resting my eyes.
I could hear him the entire time. I just had my eyes closed.
Easler.
Also, remember, if you guys play Pokemon Go, tomorrow's Go Fest. Tomorrow is it.
Exclamation mark play.
Wake up!
Wiggles started a hype train with his sub. Hype.
Oh my God, Wiggles.
Thank you, Wiggles.
I don't think you made it in time for playing though.
Would that even
That's
count?
Okay.
Oh there.
Welcome. Happy
General
Friday.
Kenobi.
It is a happy Friday.
Everybody like that wiggle.
Where's my hype man? He's in first place.
I just took a
Mona's
3 hour
Can't
nap.
believe.
You went on a 3-hour nap?
Yeah.
Did you wake up on an island?
No, I woke. I got off early at work. My wife had the day off, and we were going to watch some TV, and I sat down.
Dreams didn't make it.
You did the typical dad thing. Fell asleep.
3 hours later, woke up.
You just fell
Oh,
asleep.
damn.
That's light.
Were you catching flies?
Guys,
And it-
don't
and
let
it-
me forget. Next Thursday, I need to bake a cake.
Hey.
Thursday cake.
Where
Hey,
you
lady.
catching
Hey,
flies?
I'm gonna make it thirsty.
yeah, lady.
You know, with the mouth open and everything?
Don't forget next Thursday you gotta make a cake.
Yeah, don't forget.
Either that or
Don't
I could
forget.
do it
Gee
Friday,
golly,
but
that
I
was
wouldn't
such a good
really have a
reminder.
whole lot of time on Friday. Because I have therapy right after work,
Do you know what you should do?
and then I have a thing.
You know what you should do? You
I'm
should
on
tell
a
your
1,
therapist.
so drug
You should
test.
tell your therapist that you have to bake a cake because then she's
I-
definitely going to fucking remind you.
No, because I have to
It's
do it
not wrong.
Thursday.
And
First
The
of
day
all, there was a
before my
whole lot to
therapy.
unpack there, but
ah,
I actually had to reschedule my therapy because I forgot I had
you
D&D
have to bake
tomorrow.
a cake.
I'm giving blood on
I'm
Tuesday.
glad you were okay talking about that because it just kind of came out.
Why am I giving?
Alright.
Oh yeah, I'm helping people.
Cat. I stole
I
the
got
show.
DNF. How rude.
Better
Do
than
not
DNR.
finish.
Showing.
That's what she said.
A
Hmm.
ball.
Oh,
A
yeah.
ball. Will I win this race?
You're
Michigan
gonna fight a
will.
monkey.
9.
Yes,
You
I
Oh,
was-
I
all
forgot
wrong.
an L.
8
Can't
bow.
spell.
No, I was curious.
You're
'cause
talking
people-
Unclear.
demons now.
Consult the cat. Consult a catnip nap. Goodness, yes, I need a
Play
catnip.
a Ouija board at least.
Another one.
No,
With
she's
a
gonna fight
Dorito.
a monkey. She's gonna fight a monkey, and that's what I was curious about. I had to hold her back. Hold her back.
That on-screen
Mhm.
celebration bit looks like a Dorito.
It is a Dorito.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's a square.
Ah.
He's got the Doritos.
Mhm.
You got the
Doritos.
Doritos.
Computer's being weird.
Yeah, I'm making fun of the old Wilford Brimley diabetes commercials.
I got
Yeah,
bronchitis.
I got the
got
Doritos.
I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that shit.
Letus the fetus. Or Yeetus.
You
How-
eating
how-
Twizzlers?
How
Hell
hard
yeah.
is it?
Mhm.
Yum.
I mean, I'm one with.
That's one of my favorite movie snacks.
Mhm.
Twizzlers, and I have munchers, but I about finished those
My whole D&D table are a Twizzler table.
before stream.
Like, we fucking love Twizzlers.
That's dangerous. Somebody's
I
gonna show
know.
up with that 5-pound bag.
Listen,
Sometimes I do.
some of you guys are Dr. Pepper fans. Have you ever
No.
tried to drink Dr. Pepper through a Twizzler?
Through a Twizzler? Hell
Mhm.
yeah.
No.
Coke.
It is a fantastic thing.
No, but this is what's left of a Dr. Pepper slushie.
Oh,
However, it feels
those are
it feels like you're
delicious.
drinking air though because all the bubbles.
I did add cherry to it though, so it's a cherry Dr. Pepper slushie.
Ooh. I do
Um,
that with Coke, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do the cherry Coke
A
slushie.
cola, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not cocaine. Not cocaine. Totally different kind of straw. Totally different kind of straw.
Look, I might be
You can swallow your cat.
from the U.S. or like from the Midwest, but I don't do shit.
Mm-mm.
Just a little bit of.
Through a Twizzler
company.
though.
That'd be an interesting sight.
I was gonna bring it in here, but my daughter ended up
Damn.
finishing it out. But we
Princess,
were
thank
I forget
you,
where we were.
Princess. Woohoo! Thank you for
Um,
the 61 months. Thank you,
oh,
thank
Piggly
you.
Wiggly.
Oh,
They had
those still
Wiggly.
exist?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm near Wisconsin. They're all in Wisconsin. But they had Dr. Pepper cotton candy,
Ooh.
Oh
Sounds
my.
amazing. I want Dr.
and
Pepper.
it
Candy.
was freaking
If
amazing.
you've ever had the Dr. Pepper milkshake from Whataburger, oh my god, that shit's so good.
Oh my god!
Milkshake?
I'm gonna get us a
Yeah.
little off topic here, but have you ever seen that YouTube video where the grandma's telling the child to wash their cotton candy before they eat it?
Oh no.
Vaccination
That's
day.
bad, Grandma.
Is it
Sure, I've
pink?
heard
I
about
can't
it.
remember.
Water.
There you go.
Yeah, as soon as the kid puts it in the water, they're like, oh. And then they go and do it again, and they're like, oh.
Oh,
one way to trick your grandkid not into
Eating all the
not
sugar.
eating sugar.
Anything?
Mhm.
Yeah. Turn on my hacks.
We're gonna need a Martinelli swig emote.
It might. I mean, I already have a prep plan for a fucking Remus sticker. Because we need one.
Man, what a week.
Yeah, I thought
telling
about
you.
ordering this clear
Fucking
stickers,
milkhead.
but I didn't know what to do with them. Couldn't figure out what design I'd want.
It was
Kinda
coming off of.
keeping-
So, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was saying coming off a 4-day weekend and going
Oh,
back to
yeah.
work.
It was not a good
4-day weekend.
Yeah, because we had 4th of July. So I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then went
Oh,
back
I
to work
see, I
Monday.
see.
Same.
I'm off Monday. Bank holiday.
I slept most of the day today to make up for
For
my...
you, not for us.
True.
If only.
I also don't get every bank holiday off. I literally, the only one I get is Christmas Day. Because it's the only day we're closed.
Yeah, that's retail though.
That cat bought it. That 8-ball's out to get you, Michigan.
Well, that's normal. That's what I'm trying to fight an 8-ball tonight. I'm just gonna buy one tonight and just throw it at a wall.
That's
Hopefully
weird.
not at you.
Don't
Is it
waste your
weird
money.
or is it normal? I don't.
I mean, you are in Michigan, so I mean.
Well, you are very.
There's
There's a lot of things I could say about, but I'm not going to because
We bypass all this craziness to make it to the end.
Hey,
I
I'm from
did.
Illinois. I'm from Illinois.
Oh yeah,
Like-
so now I can talk. Okay. Well, anyways, that's why. You know,
Dang.
that's why.
That's cool. You have the countdown timer showing how close you are to the fastest time.
Yeah. It's about to. It's trying to blow him off the. Explode him off the track. Oh, it's sitting backwards. That's not good.
Wrong way, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
No!
I just jump off.
Sit backwards again. Luckily, you ran
Where are
into
you
him.
going, Wiggles?
I'm trying to go
What
forward.
he's
But he...
He's from Illinois. He doesn't know right from left.
I am not from Illinois. I am from Wisconsin, if anything.
Oh, that's
Never
even
have any
worse.
guaranteed
Oh, come on.
holidays off. The joys of hospital work.
Oh,
Yeah.
even
Man,
worse.
somebody overtook
Like-
you.
The line of work you choose requires seasonal
passed you.
employees,
Oh,
which
no.
is it's crazy that you have to deal with that. But life
Oh no, I'm getting left behind. Not
life
like
does not stop for holidays, sadly.
Well, like I said, you're from Wisconsin, so you're gonna get left behind.
you sure can lick me where I be, okay?
I will.
Wow.
Don't put me with a good time.
I've
Oh,
not heard it worded
apparently
that
I
way
got sent
before.
back again. I was doing well. What happened?
Mm. Wiggles is trying. At least nobody's got ejected off the map yet, though. Usually everybody's getting ejected at this point.
I'm passing him right now because my state's so much
Mhm.
better. Look at
Everybody's
that.
trying their best.
Shoot, I'm going the wrong way, but it's just to help out Wisconsin people.
Lady, just fly already.
Well, rude.
No, I'm saying you.
Vince,
got
why
the-
are you
got
on
all the
my
magical
picture? Oh,
powers?
that's
You should
weird.
be able to fly.
I don't know.
Flint's, why are you on my picture?
I have no idea. How
I've
that
never
happened.
seen you in my life.
Bye, buddy. Bye, buddy.
Our streams in the lead. Where we're supposed to be?
I don't know how.
Destinies.
But these fucking
Destiny's
things
in the
are.
lead
This
for a moment.
shockwave is knocking me back.
Oh.
I know that I haven't really moved in one way or another.
know.
Yeah.
Like-
You're just stuck.
Oh,
These
I
fucking things
see.
are knocking
Okay,
me back.
so we're getting like
We keep getting sent back.
Yeah. So if you're
Okay.
like,
It's an absolute
guys,
mess. Is what's
zoom
going
way
on.
out. You guys
Yeah,
go
I don't
back
know
and
what's
forth,
going on
and the goal
to
is to go that way.
Yeah, the
Mm.
Not
goal.
get sent
but
backwards like that.
It's gonna be like a 60-minute match.
I think Splints is just going further and further back.
I'm trying to get to the start.
Well,
Lady
if we start, maybe
made a
it'll,
new
like,
point of
reset it.
advancement, but then she got ejected, and so did Splints. So we missed that.
Oh,
Splints just got
DNF.
ejected.
No, you guys were
Wait,
sick
man.
and tired. It's like, screw this,
What way
I'm
are we
out.
meant to go?
No.
Forward, not
Are you meant to
backwards.
go against?
I didn't
against
realize
the
we were
red-
playing Castle Crashers.
Like,
I don't feel like we're playing like
Huh?
Chinese wall adventures. I don't know.
No.
then there were two. And
So
one.
Kimono's there because I felt
Nobody finished.
No, you're the only one.
Winner!
Wait, no, you were okay. Never mind. You're
Nobody finished.
well. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Since you're Jamie and two of the cousins that I grew up close to, we all ended up in public service. One's a sheriff, deputy, one's a firefighter, and I'm an RN. Oh, so you guys always have to have somebody working on holidays.
Mm.
There's no way you'll all be in one place at the same time. It's gonna be rare. Exclamation plate, join.
I'm gonna ask 8-Ball something. Oops.
You're gonna ask her how to not.
We haven't been in the same place
That's one
No,
of
I'm
those.
gonna
at
ask.
the same time
why
in
does
years. I
Wiggles
believe
suck?
it.
Hmm.
I believe it.
Good ask.
There.
For Wiggles will suck next round.
No, I'm gonna say why does he suck?
It's not a yes or no question though.
Sam.
What is
Catch.
this? Pick on Wiggles Day? What is happening here?
No, you're picking on me. I'm picking on you.
Oh my gosh, the 8-Ball is not being nice to Wiggles.
So,
Well, I bullied 8-Ball after it hated me for a long time.
Here we go.
Does Wiggles have?
That's a page crisis. Let's see how long it takes. He's gonna be like, I'm not falling for it this time.
Oh man, I woke up from my nap and I'm still need a nap.
Okay.
That's usually how.
No one needs a vacation like somebody who just
No
came
kidding,
back from
like-
vacation.
late in the day.
Right.
Get
What
eggs
time
on
is
you.
it there, Wiggles?
What's up, buddy?
What time is it there, buddy?
It is 8 p.m.
8 p.m. I was gonna say, get yourself a coffee, wake the fuck up, and then a couple
Wow,
drinks.
he's trying to bully you.
Oh no, I'll wake up. I
Uh,
literally just woke up like a half
Oh,
hour ago.
He had a nap.
I wanted the nap today and I couldn't.
It's gonna take a wee more time to come out your system, is what I mean.
You just failed at it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes, everybody feels.
Oh, it fell off already?
But it's so funny though. I said 8-Ball does Wiggles like me, and the 8-Ball said no.
I'm guessing I got electrocuted. No, not that way.
No, I'm done. Wiggles don't like me. I'm
fell
over.
as well. Holy.
Wiggles fell off. I think everybody's getting electrocuted by Lady Rain. Jesse
Yeah,
and
I'm
Shane.
I saw space. So I was like, I'm going.
Why the hell am I electrified?
I'm in my spaceship.
Mm.
I'm on my spaceship. I'm flying around in my.
You
Go.
definitely got some electricity going on, but you got first place.
I wonder if I'm gonna end up being the only one who finishes.
Oh, yep, Dusty just fell off. Now we're waiting on Shane. He's got a long ways to go.
You know.
Hopefully Shane doesn't get electrocuted.
Low and slow. That is the tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, row a boat.
Oh, the blocks.
Shane is taking
Oh,
his
no.
good old time.
Oh, no.
Oh, here comes
Shane.
the wall.
Shane.
The wall. No! You got defeated by the wall, Shane.
He never gave up though, like
the
us.
only
We
one who
just gave up.
completed it.
Yep.
I gave up. I was like, screw this.
This has been a tough race so far. We keep
Mm-hmm.
no finishing, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start getting some Viagra up in here.
I thought that was
Goodness.
to help you get it up.
Well, you can't finish if you don't.
I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like, exactly.
Hi, Nick Dobby!
You right.
Thank you for playing, Nick Dobby. Welcome to the
You
stream.
don't
Actually, that's
get it
not
up.
true. That's
Wait.
not true. But anyway.
No, you have to. Well, yeah, you can get another way of blah blah
All
blah.
right.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it. Jesus.
It was supposed to be a one-off. I didn't mean to make it a whole thing.
No, you're gonna get off. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
You're welcome.
I already said play of it.
Oh god, what does the bot say about me? Painting the color of their soul.
Wait, does it just make up stuff? I thought you could only shout out like prearranged people.
Mm-mm. It's AI.
Yeah. I've been
It
doing a
reads
lot
all
of
your
dumb
stream
shit.
titles
I don't
and
have
learns
permission.
about you.
Yeah, you
Here,
don't
I'll
feel
do it just for the hell of it, Splints.
Okay, I
That
mean
makes
that's
sense.
true. That
Yeah,
is
makes sense.
absolutely true. I was playing Sea of Thieves years ago.
Mm-hmm. For some
Oh, do one for
DayZ
me.
adventures.
Do me,
Oh,
do
I
me.
forgot to hit start.
do me.
Do you?
do me.
This Meow-gician live. Oh my gosh.
I didn't ever really stream. I think the last time I streamed would probably be Farmer Simulator.
That's so funny because yes, I've only ever streamed
Did you get Wiggles?
DayZ and Sea of Thieves.
Oh, you want me to do Wiggles?
Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Find out.
Oh,
Arma.
yeah.
Can you do me?
Wiggles is the new kid on the block, streaming for the first time ever in a magical land of Arma 3. No past broadcasts to follow through, but that's just the start of their stream journey, right? Stay tuned for when they go live. It's sure to be a furious, fun,
Ferocious
fun, first time streamer, Arma 3 adventures.
Love it.
Well, sorry, can you do me? I
Oh
want
my
to see
God.
what I did.
Fucking do
I know,
me.
I apologize. Everybody else is doing it.
I like the
I
last
gotta do
sentence.
mine next then.
In the butt.
The last sentence on mine, I love it. Stay possum and sail on, Meowsters.
Okay, I didn't stream on this one. Okay.
What is this? Where
It's
is-
Derek
where-
Mystery
where have
waiting
I
to
seen
unravel.
this?
Stay tuned for when they go live for more magical moments.
Where are you sharing this?
Stream chat.
What am I not watching?
Oh, it's in the stream
Stream.
chat, dude.
Okay. Sorry.
No, on only feeds.
Oh jeez.
Stop giving
I gotta
everybody
find
my
out what
idea.
mine says because I haven't
No,
streamed in
I
a
will.
hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Only
Oh,
feeds.
good God.
Baldur's
Gotta
Gate.
do Lady. Gotta do Shane.
Oh,
you gotta
you
do
have your
you
Steam
gotta do
hooked up to
everybody here.
Discord. That's why, or not Discord, but Twitch.
I realized I
Mhm.
streamed on another user.
Lady, after you have to do me.
How do you even spell your fucking shit? Hold on.
Lady's
There
been
we go.
doing this
Okay.
all. So,
I'm glad I didn't have to say it.
Lady's been doing this all, though. To be fair.
Their streams is
Doing it and doing it
Epitome
and
of
doing it
mystery.
well.
Test stream Enigma wrapped in a kimono cozy. No recent broadcasts to paw over, but that just makes them even more elusive and meowgical, doesn't it? Stay tuned for when they reappear and grace us with their presence. Until then, keep your eyes peeled and your whiskers twitching.
I wish it said pausins.
I like that. I like that. I'll take it.
Oh.
Find
Am I
out with
fucking
Shane.
winning?
Mm-hmm.
I felt called out though that it was like last streaming
Right.
Sea of Thieves, and it was like that was
Oh, now it's
7
not gonna
years
work.
ago.
Oh, come on. You gotta
I
move.
thought I streamed on
Doesn't
mine, and I
like
realized
Shane.
I didn't.
Oh my
stream.
god.
I'm stuck.
Yep.
Well, that's
Playing
your
Everybody's gonna
issue.
pass you.
That's your issue.
Dude, all you have ever done it, you've only done enough to be told playing retro.
Fucking move. Back on.
Why did it not do the thing? I have to try
I
it
think
again.
I think it's just because we have a cooldown or
It's
something.
just-
You know, try again.
Shocking.
It's either that or they just
It just doesn't like him.
it's like yeah,
He's
Sean's
mysterious. There's nothing.
So I'm
mysterious.
curious, were you playing NES or like what
Shane
were you
Nevers,
playing?
please.
Probably, yeah.
I don't believe that.
Anyways, 8-Ball is very smart right now.
If I fucking didn't get hung up on that one
You
little
bet your whiskers.
Right?
shit, I would have fucking won.
Biggles is gonna love the Lions.
It's just not gonna do it. It's not gonna do it for Shane.
No.
It's like that we don't know enough about him.
Did I? Okay, I'm dead. Okay, I'm too busy farming underneath.
I'm really impressed with what it said about me though. Like it summed up my quote unquote streaming career.
Your life. Let's get into this show. Like,
It's like, wow, he's only played 2 games, but we'll talk
Let me
about
try.
that at length.
Maybe it just doesn't like how many times Lady's done it.
It might
No,
be.
I don't think it likes him.
No.
It doesn't like Shane.
Shane just plays retro. That's all.
Yeah.
at least I had
Just
something.
a retro.
It's like you saved life, so you have enough honor.
Yeah.
You did get first place though.
That's why. It's like,
Oh, I actually
won.
finished this time. That's great.
Awesome.
Exclamation play to join the race, guys. Exclamation play.
I don't have enough for a gun show. I wanted a gun show.
You gotta
So-
wait.
I need a number. Actually,
Lady gets her
can I
goodie
say-
bar.
Does it only go up to 14?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the number of balls is just
yeah.
If you look on the
Aiden.
screen, there's a picture with a type of ball for each number.
yes.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm on the stream at the moment, and
It only goes
like,
up to
I can only-
14,
okay,
yes.
that's
Yeah.
fine. I just
Yeah,
wanted
that's
to know
all
whether
I've
it's gonna
paid
go
for.
below
If I
that
buy
or-
more slots, there'll be more balls, but I haven't bought any more.
We're gonna go play the slots.
As long as go play the slots.
You can have more marbles, but I have to pay for them.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say you
that's
can only
cool.
use one for
What?
7 dreams because you're not subscribed.
With
Yeah.
what?
You are not subscribed to the
It
legendary.
says it says previously subscribed
Mhm.
or subbed for 7 months, but
Yeah.
you're not currently subscribed.
Your
Yeah,
So you
subs.
can only
there's
use one
subscriber
current.
marbles and regular marbles.
So 8 through 14 are for subscribers only.
Hey, don't feel bad, man. I've only got 2
It's okay.
days remaining.
Of
It's
what?
okay.
I just
Of
outright
the
pay
sub.
for it.
Of the sub.
Kimono.
I use my Prime here.
Makes more sense.
If I
I'm not
okay,
allowed to
question.
steal the Prime because it's Dalton's Prime sub.
If I
Oh
subscribe,
no.
does it resubscribe every month?
No,
you
you
have
have
No,
to
no,
tell
not
it
with
to.
Amazon
Prime.
Prime, no.
Awesome.
Yeah, it should auto do it unless they don't do that anymore.
Well,
No,
Amazon
it's
Prime
the
is
Prime
never-
sub. It doesn't.
Oh yeah, Prime doesn't.
Prime
yeah.
you have to specifically use regular subs,
Right.
auto sub. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, regular subs auto renew, but Prime doesn't.
So kids out there, no, I'm just kidding.
Kids.
I was gonna say, just get
Oh,
your mom's
damn.
credit card once and you're good to go.
Have I seriously been paying for her this entire? Oh my god,
Who is it?
Who you been paying for?
Vic.
You sub
she hasn't
somebody and didn't
streamed
realize?
forever.
Like in
No,
over a year. Mm-hmm.
I want a 7-month streak with her. I didn't realize it.
That's all right.
She
I
must
paid
have
for
streamed
D
7 months
for
Oh
ago.
my god.
half a year before I realized he wasn't even streaming anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it makes sense. Like
Yeah.
me, I don't. Right.
I mean, I recently,
But
fucking
I
English.
love
I
her.
recently, I know. I recently subscribed him because it was his 10-year anniversary, but other than that, I don't generally. Well, I did.
Let's
and
not talk about another streamer. Sorry, I brought it up.
How dare you?
My bad.
Irrespectively.
I
Uh,
stream. I stream on
Wiggles in the
only
corner.
feet.
Most of my streams tend to go on where I hang out most, which is here.
Yeah.
Well, I stream in Michigan Pub. Everybody can join. This guy.
Hey,
Just kidding.
no
It's an
self-promotion.
exclusive club.
Just kidding.
It's an exclusive.
It's an exclusive club.
VIP fucking Joe.
I had to get. I had to get.
I mean, we have
flashed by
bottle
everybody.
service. It's
Mhm.
mostly Martinelli's, but you know, we've
Winner,
got it.
winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, you
was
suck.
fucking right
That's
Congrats,
behind you.
Wiggles.
Rain
I
drinks
was
it all.
right behind you.
Lady has a problem. This game.
Worried here.
I have 4 other bottles. They're not in the fridge though.
Hold on a minute.
Lady's gonna be outside like, woo!
Hold on a minute. Hold on.
You can't stop me.
Hold on,
Glug,
hold
glug,
on.
glug.
Fuck you, police! You throw it at the cop car. Like,
Chickadee.
Is that actual wine or is it like fucking non-alcoholic
It's
shit?
apple cider, bro. It's
Oh,
fine.
for fuck's sake! You almost had me going there,
Mm-hmm.
That's
It's
been the
not
joke
the
the whole
vibe.
time.
mate.
I was convinced for a whole 2 seconds until I saw it and then realized that was not a thing.
yeah.
Mate, you are so close to being my future ex-wife.
Okay.
The whole fucking chugging out the bottle. That shit was going to end somewhere. Yeah,
It's mine.
I know, but what I mean is, well,
She's gonna hit you with it. She's
I don't
gonna
think you need to
fucking smash
explain.
your head
I
in.
think we know.
Hefty.
Yeah,
This
doesn't
shit's
get the joke.
hefty,
Doesn't
man.
get the joke.
They spend a good amount of money on these fucking bottles because they're fucking hefty.
They have to because there's so many bubbles in them.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. I thought it
They'll
was
bust.
fucking actual alcohol for a minute, and you've just.
No, I haven't.
It's the same as a champagne bottle. They got to be pretty sturdy.
So you just glugged it straight out of the bottle, and I was like, mate, that's a win right there. But I knew
I drank
that it
this
would end
whole
in
thing.
disaster.
That's how hot it is here today, and I'm still thirsty.
And that was a slushy.
I know, and then I'm on this
Oh
much
my.
of this. Plus, I had 2 cups of root beer today.
What brand of root beer? I'm curious.
It was Brock's because I was at a restaurant, and that's what they
Wait,
had.
say it again.
Brock's, or however you say it, Bragg's, or whatever.
Barks?
Oh,
Barks.
Barks.
Yeah, I don't know how you say it.
Kono, how
It's
big's your
Barks.
fucking?
Barks got bite.
ARQs.
How big's your bottle that you got there? Is that a 2 liter?
No, it's a 1 liter.
64 ounce, so
I don't know what that is.
Not quite 1 liter.
64 ounces in a liter? I thought it was 8
2,
cups.
motherfucker.
Mhm.
2 big liters. Daily.
Is that all you drink?
I have flavored water while I'm working. It's kind of basically like a sugar water.
Dude, that was so funny. So when Rabbit was here in America, he was looking for like in America we call it like Meow, like the little droplets you put in the water to make it flavored or whatever.
Yeah.
And he couldn't remember the name of it, so he was like asking all the grocery store workers, like he was like, do you have the flavored water or whatever? Like he kept saying like
So
flavoring.
I'll catch
this
milkshake.
is like this was out of my
he
van.
kept saying
but
some
this is-
funny stuff though, and it was like, dude.
That's the flavored water that I drink on a like and when I'm working.
The
It's basically
Volvic. Yeah,
yeah.
we've talked about this. Yeah.
It's Volvic
Got
summer
it.
fruits. It literally is just sugar water, but it's like tastes of berries. It's really really nice,
Come
but it's
on.
massive in
Momo
fucking
holds
sugar.
track record on here. Momo does.
Actually, is it?
Damn.
It was
Like,
so funny though, because I couldn't even. I knew what he was talking about, but I couldn't remember where it was in the grocery store. So like we wandered around for ages looking for this stuff. Never found it.
No,
You
that's
also
Steve's
look in
eggs.
the
Yeah,
water additives.
No.
It's-
Oh yeah,
it-
that aisle. That must
James,
be
you're in the
11.
lead. James, you're in the lead.
I'm just saying,
Oh,
like we
no,
literally
not
went up and
there.
down every
Look at
aisle,
you
never
now.
found it.
Okay, I got you.
So I can't
Oh,
do.
James,
you know,
James. Woo! Dream's
I
not
can't
first
see
I
your
know it's the
strength
place.
energy
arms,
drinks
so.
and sodas wherever the mixers are.
Yeah,
I
I
got
know,
advert.
and that's where we were looking, but it wasn't there.
That's
I
weird.
think they stopped stocking it at my grocery store.
Would have been next to vitamins.
No, it's not extra vitamins.
Vitamin water, that is.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, no, I knew what you meant. Yeah,
Thank you
next
for
to
the
the
leg.
vitamin
I don't know
water.
if I should, but see when you're
How
when
did
you're
I was the
streaming-
only one who didn't finish? Come on now.
when you're
That's just
streaming,
rude.
if adverts come up to you, I'll save it for a different day.
Yes.
Save it for a different day.
Yeah,
Oh no,
I
Duffy
was.
joined me. All right, we're good.
I'm about to say I was very close to not finishing. I guess.
Alright. Third place goes to Shane.
Dude, I
Drum roll.
DNF'd so many. I know I didn't win.
Second place. Oh, KimonoKat. First place, Dreams. You got first place on the podium out of all the races we did so far.
Fucking A.
Congrats.
It's not rigged.
Perhaps a
Well,
B. It's got. Anyway,
Picking numbers wisely.
Are you sure? It might
No,
be rigged.
but I'll stick to it.
These are all lies, anyways. Fake news.
get me started.
No, I'm talking about not that.
I know that word fucking messes me up though.
What, news?
Yes.
Yes, clearly.
Yes.
Join! Exclamation play to join the race, guys! Exclamation play. New Grand Prix.
Oh,
Is this the Grand Prix?
Oh, I need to get
I just had the hardest time spelling the word play.
I don't feel
Well,
so bad.
it is. It
Play
isn't your first
town.
language. Technically.
I'm tempted to figure out
Pay
I'm
town?
tempted to figure out
What is that, Splits?
Pay to win.
Oh, pay to win. I can't read. Wiggles can't spell. He can't read. Just
I'm
doing
tempted to
good.
figure out what
And
fucking-
I'm just me, so I don't.
I'm tempted to figure out what Wiggles' first spelling of play was.
Anyways,
It was P
I
L
have
L
Kimono's
Y A.
ball, so I'm
That's
gonna
how I
win.
spelled it. I got just totally got figured out of order.
Lo siento, habla español. Juegos to play.
Who
No, habla. No,
am I gonna yeet off the track today?
Yeah.
I'm gonna yeet Michigan off the track.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Exclamation.
Gonna
Juegos.
yeet Michigan.
Who does?
Ooh, did my pay to win
We'll just double
work
confirm.
out? No, it did
It
not.
might. Well, you
It did
didn't
not.
pay as much as the stream.
I got Steved.
Oh.
Oh, I'm so Steved. Oh
Wait,
no.
check it out. Check it out.
Get it?
Steve.
Yeeted.
For everybody in chat, his
Real
Tumblr
name.
says Steve. It took me a minute to remember the word for that. I'm like, what is that? It's not just a glass. It's a tumbler.
And his real name's Fred.
There.
Kevin.
Positively.
I'm done.
Michigan will positively get yeeted.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get beat up again. This
I
is
keep
I
getting
already
them two
got
mixed up,
yeeted.
Wiggles.
Stop it.
like you put
I'm
me in a
not
gonna
headlock. I'm in a headlock right now.
What was that about? You just
I've been yeeted off the course like 9 times out of 10 tonight.
Dreams, you fuck off, man.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to hit that.
You better move quickly.
You got to move it, move it.
I
Move
like
it,
it.
move it. We have some competition
That
over
was
here.
actually a cracking song.
It was
See,
until
now
you
now-
believer.
Now I got
remember
it stuck in your head.
Do you ever?
Mhm.
Yeah, it does. Like, do you remember the sweets called Chewits? Did you ever have them?
Nope.
Where there's like
Nope.
the big. Okay, so on the advert it's basically like a big Godzilla going through the town and smashing everything else up, and then he gets like shot this fucking chew it into his mouth, and he's like, I like to move it. I like to chew it.
It's me.
Nope.
No,
Uncertain.
Mate,
I will
I'll
be
try and find
right back.
I'll try and find the
The
advert for it.
moment of uncertainty.
Oh no. I'm going in circles, man.
Jeez.
I'm just going round and round and round. Oh, there
Has
goes
anybody
mine.
Well,
here
somebody
ever
gets the
had
bypass. Oh, Michigan hit the bypass. He's gonna win.
Okay.
Haichu?
long as he doesn't fall off.
Again.
He doesn't
Yes,
fall
you're right.
off. Fell off.
He done fell off.
He got yeeted.
Bye.
Well, you start talking, and then,
He fell down and bumped his head.
All right.
dude, I do that every freaking
For
day.
the three of us. But I'm the
Fall
first
too
one on
high.
here.
Sure. Oh, geez, you guys are gonna make me seasick.
You know.
This is why
You're on it too, Mono.
I know.
Oh, thank God.
Glad I'm not looking at it then.
Let's see. Let's see if you make it into the bucket. Will you make it?
Okay, I'm gonna share my
Steve.
screen.
Oh, there's a Steve. Oh, Dreams jumped ahead somehow. Where did he come from?
Yeah, but they're still wiggling back and forth. Oh, there he goes.
There goes Steve.
The
Well,
darkness
there
beyond.
technically is a Wiggles here, yes.
No,
Oh,
he
Steve
didn't.
let Dreams
got
by.
lucky.
Saved.
Yeah, you got Steve.
Uh-huh.
I got
And
my
Dreams
ass beat.
wins.
I got my
Fuck
ass beat.
you, Dreams.
Suck on my chocolate solid balls.
Got
That's
Steve.
weird.
Fucking
Oh
Wiggles.
no. Hi, Six.
Hello, children.
Six, ask the 8-ball question. Go for it.
Oh, Aiden, I got
And I
you
don't
good,
care
didn't I?
yours. Okay. The magic
He's
8-ball.
dying.
The meowtical 8-ball.
Hello,
There you
children.
go.
Fuck that hit. Mate,
So your inner cat. You gotta
that
ask a
was
question
literally
now.
as I just took that drink.
I don't drink.
That was fucking timing to perfection right there.
It was also a good impression, right? I mean, come on.
Very true. Hey, children.
There you
How's
go.
it going, children?
Hey, boo boo.
Hey,
Boo
boo.
boo.
I want to get to
Wiggles, I'm
sleep
gonna show you
for
something.
2 a.m. Oh no.
Would you like to have a picnic basket?
You ready?
I got a funny story, guys, about that. So my job
Listen and
from
ASMR magic. Ooh.
from 15 through 17, so my 8th grade to freshman year, sophomore year, I worked for Jellystone Campground,
Oh my.
and I was one of the guys that
The guys.
that dressed up in the yogi suit.
Oh
So we
no.
had
That's so cool.
Yogi, Cindy, Boo Boo, and the Ranger.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either. It was like Steve or something.
Yeah.
Ranger Fred.
But so we had this special golf cart that all these characters could sit in, and we would drive to people's campsites and deliver them cakes for like when their kids had birthdays and stuff.
Aw.
Hey, boo boo.
Hey, boo boo.
And it was actually like the suit, mind you, this would have been what, 96, 97. Like the suit was way advanced. It had like 5 circulating fans inside. You know, you
In the
gotta figure,
head. Yeah.
yeah, you gotta figure this is a campground in the middle of summer, and you're putting on this big giant wool mascot. But it was
Why
pretty
did I
cool.
try to play after we started? That's weird.
Leaves for the week. Well, Kimono wins.
So, anyways,
no,
you were out there in this suit.
Jinxed me, Michigan. You jinxed me.
No, you're gonna actually win now.
Oh, that's it. Just I
Oh, okay.
dressed up in.
Dude,
I got
that's
to dress up
amazing
in
though.
the-
You got to do that. Like the kids must have loved it.
What was the
They
name of the
did.
program again? Is it just Boo Boo?
Yogi Bear.
Well, there's
yeah,
Yogi
fuck, I
Bear, and
forgot
then
that.
there's Boo Boo, which is the little bear.
Hey, boo boo.
Hey, Boo Boo, you want a picnic basket?
Picnic basket.
Oh, we'd also do they had an outdoor theater, like a
Alright,
small little
Florence is
outdoor
in the
theater
lead.
that like hooked up to a VHS.
Temporarily.
So
Mhm.
we do Yogi movie night. So Yogi would set up a picnic.
Hey, boo
And
boo,
then,
you
Boost,
wanna watch a
turbo.
movie?
Yeah. all these kids sitting like on blankets watching.
Aw.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Kid. You're gonna get yeeted again, by the
No.
way.
Such a good time.
I got Steved hard.
Yo.
Right, Wiggles, you ready?
That's what she said.
At least I'm getting
This
pushed off.
jumped over Steve.
I am
Watch
I
ready.
was
out.
getting pissed off.
Okay.
Sorry.
He did not want to
Better
eat.
than get
Wiggles
pissed
is
off.
just dancing. He's
Alright, so
dancing the
look
night
at the
away.
chute. Remember we were talking about the chutes thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so look at how it started, and then I'll fast forward to like where it actually the song.
Yeah.
We need a boost command,
Oh,
don't
no.
we? Huh?
You just flew right through that one, Steve.
Yep. Steve is my friend. I got hacks on. GG. Just trolling.
Why to put Will?
Let's see if we can fix that though. That trolling. Let's see.
Are you ready?
I've never won.
Commands. No.
Keep on trolling,
This is how it
trolling,
started.
trolling, trolling. What?
Exclamation boost.
It's like this fucking 1970s chutes thing, right?
Can I help you,
This is
sir?
how it ended. This is how I remember it.
Wiggles. I love it.
What?
There's a large knot.
Oh my.
Oh, yeah.
Your wand.
There you go.
Get out of here.
You
Nice.
see what I mean? So it's this kind of fucking Godzilla looking thing.
Okay, I made a thing.
I'm pretty sure that's a Hip Hop Anonymous.
And it has cookies.
Yeah.
Fantastically, yes.
The hip hop hippopotamus.
You can have cookies.
Oh, now you got the
Yeep up.
fucking Flight of the Conchords.
Okay,
Conchords?
now do the
Conchords?
boost. Now do the boost. 6. I added in Korean.
Oh, I forgot that was a command. I was just being silly.
I'm like, eat. Let's eat and dash. Deco, dash.
Well,
Welcome
Kimono's
to-
always push me off every time.
Right.
Yeah.
In the background for all those that are kind of wanting to.
Wait, how come I haven't joined yet? I said play, didn't I? No,
It's
I.
fucking hilarious.
Why
I
does
must
it
have
say
been
you
too late.
play live commands still
Or
a little
too
low?
early.
That's what I meant.
Too much
Let me
shit
check
for me right now.
that.
I can't do that.
You're
Yeah,
too
the timer's
late
still
to
on
be
here.
early
Fix that.
now.
I gotta check my timers.
Do they?
Katrina, what for lady? Lady, do I need to turn on multi-stream? Just kidding.
What?
I turn on multi-stream.
It's Tuesday.
That'd be funny.
I know, right?
I haven't streamed in forever. Oh, there's actually a commands one now too. There you go. That's not even all of them. Need to add some.
Doodly doodly doo.
Ah,
Excuse me.
stop it. Did I not get in?
Turtles got burnt, and turtle got bit. 20 seconds. Get your marble on the chart. 20 seconds.
Oh, that's
I didn't.
What? Hopefully no snake. Or spiders.
Huh? Oh,
Turtle got bit.
oh no, no, bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why.
Mhm.
Well, at
Yeah.
least it's not poisonous.
I don't know. And it's only poison if you ingest it. Too venomous.
Oh, this is that track. Somebody's gonna get taken away. This was the one that makes all those scary sounds.
I'm stuck.
Mine, Mono has toxins.
Bessie's in the lead. Bye. Cat. Oh god. I hate those sounds. That was like a trap door or something. I swear that was like a trap door or something that he got yeeted out of. I might push you. 3 of us have disappeared already.
Ooh. Boogeyman got him.
Mm-hmm. There's 4 left. I'm not sure about the state of Michigan and 6 though. They're like way back there. It's a Dancing with Steve. The gates opened. And the wall went down. There's Wiggles.
I win.
Splint says Dancing with Steve. As long as you don't get pegged.
His wife might tag him later.
Hey, don't judge me.
I'm not.
I fucking am.
Wiggles gets first place, followed by Splint. Now we gotta go find Michigan. And 6. Oh, they got burnt at the stake back there or something. They were stuck on a peg or something.
They got pegged.
Yes. In a different way. Usually the peg sends you flying, but no. Lady K yeeted KimonoBot. That's not me. Join! Exclamation play!
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go.
Oh, poor Dash. He's like lurking the whole time and being a victim to all my commands. "40 seconds.
I'll be right back, guys.
Thanks for the warning.
Okay.
Will you?
I'm waking up.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's almost 9 o'clock and it's still light out here.
Perhaps later.
Not here.
What are you living in Svalbard? Oh wait, no, that's where the sun never comes up.
No, I'm pretty sure that's Alaska.
Alaska comes up in sun comes up in Alaska.
I was talking about there's a city, or actually it's an island off of Norway that's like it's always in darkness. And it's one of the few places you can go and live and work indefinitely without a visa.
Oh.
Where?
Interesting.
What's this?
Svalbard.
Lady scares you?
Svalbard.
Svalbard.
Lady's gonna catch up
You
to
can
you.
go there without a visa and work, and it's one place that is always in sunshine. Is that what you said?
In the dark.
Right behind
actually.
me.
Always in the dark.
Yes.
Yeah, wasn't that based on a horror actually? Wasn't there a place
Nope.
like that?
But yeah, you're talking about that one movie. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, you passed Bessie.
Like
that one took place
Here,
in Alaska.
you had to take off.
Did it spends like fucking 9 months or 10 months of its year in complete darkness.
Steve.
Yeah, that would be Alaska. Yeah.
Steve is on Splint's side.
Mental. Absolutely.
Oh man, I'm just ripping.
Yeah, Steve helped you out there.
I had to say something, didn't I?
I'm
Yep.
just hanging out in the back row here.
Yep.
Crazy.
You're way back there, Wiggles. I'm dancing with
Push.
Steve.
We're just Steve
Wiggles turns.
dancing, rolling round the track yet
No,
again.
you're not, Momo. You tricked me. I got excited and thought it was Momo.
Oh, Miss Momo.
Go, 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 go.
Boost. Turbo boosted for 5 seconds. Going to get heated. Marble, marble. Hi, Shade. Welcome to the stream. How are you?
Glitch is
Oh. Do Shade, Rain. Do Shade. You gotta do Shade. Also, Shade, we have a new 8-ball, so if you ask the 8-ball questions, you get a cute reply.
Or not so cute.
Yes.
Why
Shade
do
is a
I
serious
always-
streamer
anyway.
who pops up here
I'll
and
be right
there
back.
with a dose of real catitude in Apex Legends. There. Why doesn't do kimono what? Oh, maybe that. I don't know why the emote doesn't work. Seems to be a bit about struggle and maybe a little bit about discovery. What's this? And the pain I go through. Sounds like they're serving up a burrito of emotions from curiosity to challenge. Tune in for some formidable gameplay and see what Shade is all about. Meowsters.
It's because that one doesn't
KimonoKat.
exist, Mona. We don't. Oh, it's because
Huh?
it has to be kitty what? Kimono 1 kitty what?
Oh, okay. I mistyped it in the bot.
Yeah.
Way to go. Way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Worst streamer
How are
ever.
you, Shade?
I'm leaving.
Run away. Too many errors. Join! Exclamation play!
Think you might have played too soon, Splints. Yeah, you played too soon.
Yeah, I don't see a splits on the list.
Oh, so you're muted, Splints.
I can't send the message again because I've already sent it.
You can send it.
It does the
There you
30-second thing or whatever.
Oh, I know. I said play 5 and I tried to do it again. So this time I hit play just to make sure. But
Oh, really?
I should have been in there. I already said play 5.
I don't even know which
Yeah,
box
but you
it
did
is
it
you
now.
before she went over.
I think you
No, I
just
didn't.
like, but yeah, by a half a second.
Oh,
I went
get off me.
I went in right after you, and I got in,
it.
and you did.
You went in right after. Okay.
Shade's feeling toasty.
The guy's so old.
Exclamation play to join the race, guys. Exclamation play. 20 seconds. Hurry.
By the time you hear 20 seconds, it's actually 10. Keep that in
I
mind.
know. That's why I do the roar thing, like way before that, and the exclamation P way before that. It's hopefully people see it and hear it, but.
Oh,
But if
I
you
almost
don't
did
do,
the meow again.
But if you don't do like at least 60-second shortness, people don't like to play because they like to go fast. They like to get as many races in as they can. But if you go like 30-second races, then the mobile users have a hard time getting on.
Mono, I couldn't believe that last week I learned that the meow thing was like a whole long song. I had no idea. I felt so bad.
That's the Meow Mix theme.
That's right. No, that was one of my viewers that really liked that, so we did that for them. Time at this one. There you go.
Meow Mix sound.
I remember that commercial as a kid. Alright. Once you're like in the eye of the storm right now.
Whee!
I fell off. I died.
One of them there tornadoes.
Mm-hmm. Wheels made it.
For the win. Oh, come on now. Thanks, Dream. Bye.
Don't mind me, I'm just grabbing a snack.
I'm listening to Fight the
Round the
Concord
corner.
as well while we're talking, so I'm kind of like once it properly spaced out, but just kind of like absorbed
Yeah.
in my own musical
Yeah.
surrounding.
Totally okay.
Dreams and Wiggles. Dreams got first place.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself, Wiggles.
That's all right. Hey, watch that podium. Watch that podium. Come on now.
Yo.
Mate, I was in here for 2 matches. I reckon I'm taking it, pal.
Okay.
3 wins.
First place
2
because
wins.
they are
2 wins
a
in 3 games,
cheater.
maybe.
Aw.
Oh, yeah, you did then. Because I got 1 win in second place. Yeah, so you'll take it.
Next.
How would you like?
Fear of
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
heights.
Show me that podium.
Oh, no, there's no podium.
Show
There's
me
no podium
the
yet. You got 3 more races before you get podium.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wiggles, count
It's
yourself out, son.
9 whole races to decide who gets on the podium.
I'll just let you know, every game that I've won, I've been number 13. Unlucky for some, definitely lucky for me.
I just burned you for that statement, apparently. Streams gets burnt.
Sir, your ass
On
is
the
on
button.
fire.
Yeah, it's nice to know that my ass is on fire.
It's nice to know you're loved, right?
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it. What a fucking thing to do as well. Well, hold on, I'll rephrase it. What an outcome. What an outcome from just being like exclamation fucking burnt. Or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I made it in.
That's what she said.
I think I'm in.
Why was she getting in?
He did.
No,
Ooh.
she was saying to you, oh my gosh, I don't think he made it in.
Well, let's get back to the whole pegging thing we were talking about earlier.
It's business time. It's business time.
And this, boys and girls, this is why this channel is 18 plus.
Conditions are perfect.
We're
It's
talking about business.
Yeah.
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Go Wiggles!
Right. Paying attention, Dream? You paying attention? See what's happening right now, right?
Splints just fell off. He's not paying attention.
I'll let you figure it out, son. It's fine.
Way to call me out, because it's so true. I wasn't.
He fell.
Excuse me.
Something else I was watching reminded me of the soft palate, and that's just such a weird thing to me. I don't know why. Soft palate.
No.
Some ice cream too.
Not
Recently reminded.
Yeah.
You'll have a headache, yeah.
Shade's gonna
win. I keep it in my on my hard palate.
Oh, Bagels, it gave you a nice little spank
oh,
into
no.
it. Oh, and then you got yeeted.
Oh, for the swish. For the swish.
Oh, you were so
Oh,
close.
no.
You...
Eat
Dude,
shit, motherfucker.
I thought you had
it.
I thought you had it.
Me too.
Fucking shit.
That was fucking awesome. How cool would that have been?
It would have been cool.
To be honest with you.
Wiggles got wrecked.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah,
Tank.
That
Back
would
to
be
that
quite
conversation. Yeah, if there's a soft palate, that implies there's a hard palate.
Actually, they're right next to each other in the back of your mouth.
Yep.
Yeah. I know. I'm just being silly.
Rigged 369 times. Great. Oh, nice. Over 9,001. What's the one?
It's
Well,
over 9,000.
Is that 4 wins? 4 wins in 10 races. I mean, I'm not really a kind of mad mathematician.
Oh dang! It is pouring cats and dogs outside right now.
Go get one.
Go get one. Good idea.
I was going to say some of them motherfuckers might need saved before they're at the ground, buddy.
Go back. Got me a pupper. Got me a kitty. Let's go.
I come back in and it's a bunch of meow.
Yeah. Yeah. I get one of each, and you'd be like, look at like
I just pull my shirt out and catch them. Yeah.
Yes.
come back on the scene. Really, these bitches are feral.
No, he's got like band-aids and scratches all over. Like,
Hold on.
be
Okay.
an actual
So
A-ball.
you all have to remember this for later.
Do it.
When
That's awesome. Why didn't you think about that?
That sounds like a great AI. Something for
Prompts,
AI
yeah.
to create.
Oh yeah,
That's
for a little
Squid's going
prompt.
outside catching
Waggles.
cats and dogs
in my shirt.
Waggles,
Yeah.
Waggles. So the last time we done this
I
AI
didn't
thing
give you
was
the
only
A-ball. I
pictures.
gave you the
Can you
one.
get AI? Can you get AI
Weird.
to write us a prompt
Oh,
about cats and dogs and about the
That
cats
takes
being
that's
longer.
because of
You
the
have to-
subscriber thing.
You have to
does
render.
it?
It's like rendering. It takes a
Yeah.
long time to.
8 through 14 is subscriber balls, and 1 through 7 is.
It takes days to get
regular.
something like that. Like drinking gasoline.
It's a
Hold on.
marble
took
thing.
weeks.
Right hand
Yeah.
column is subscribers, and left hand is not.
Puddles. You're dumb.
Dang it!
Stop
You
it.
tried.
Hey, I try.
At least you got a cool heart.
That drinking gasoline video fucking kills me though. Oh my god.
Did you
I saw
the
one
one
the
I
other
sent
day.
you? Did you see the one
I
I
saw
sent
that.
you?
That was good too. Yeah. I
What
saw
is this
another.
one
It was
about drinking
Rock.
gasoline?
Dwayne the Rock Johnson eating rocks.
Oh
What is,
no!
like, where can I find this?
Just search YouTube for
Just,
AI videos.
software.
Like,
Oh, actually, I do
I
remember.
sent you
it
the
vaguely.
one I sent you was an anime series about race cars.
yeah, I need to
and
watch
they
that. I
drink
need to watch that
gas.
again because I don't remember it now. Because I watched it when I
guess
was
I'll
like
be a
half asleep.
hardball. Yeah,
I do remember this
I've never
vaguely.
watched it.
Actually, we were on the conversation about how my wee cousin introduced
Oh,
me
I
to
meant the
this.
video you sent me, not the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Lance, don't do it. Oh, good, you survived.
Woo!
Oh, dang, you showed Steve up. Shay didn't know.
I told Steve
Shay
what's
just
up.
gotten rigged. Lance, holy cow, what?
Ripping, just
Damn it.
ripping.
Oh, Flint's missed the basket.
Oh, he can't
He-
buy a bucket.
Flint's came in
You're-
way too hot and totally missed the
The
basket.
basketball season.
Yeah. Let's see. We still got Cat, Lady, Dusty. Oh, Dusty's coming in hot. He fell off. Oh, I made it. Rigged.
You said it.
Dreams. Oh, Lady next. Go, Lady. Oh, it's too close. It's too close. It's too close. No.
You're so
Bye.
lucky.
Dreams
So
got
lucky.
second though. Dreams is definitely gonna be
lucky.
on the podium.
So lucky.
Shay, no. Okay. All right. Next map. Map number 8. If you will survive original. Oh, jeez. Join. Dang, everyone was KO'd. You. Just about.
I gotta go get a refill. I will do
Alright.
it.
BRB.
Alrighty. Exclamation point. Join right. And there. Boop twiggles. Splash of splints. Hugs myself. Kisses myself on the cheek. How is that possible? Like,
I don't think you can.
It's kind of like biting your elbow.
Yeah.
Not sure maybe it's true.
I kissed the Pokemon community game.
Hi, Matthew. Cute Eevee. I like it. It's like a ghost Eevee almost. It's a shiny though. Shiny. Well, I wonder how Wiggles feels about that. About getting licked by Shade? I don't know. We'll find out when he comes back. I don't know.
A baked potato.
Now I'm on the bots.
Wiggles. Go, go, go. Shade.
Then I splash myself. Just washing my face, don't worry.
Just taking a bath. Just doing it at home.
Splish, splash, Splints was taking a bath.
Dang, we got Splints in the lead, followed by Wiggles and Leafy, right? Wiggles took the lead, came in first place. Also, Michigan is the
ripped right by me.
Michigan is the record holder, by the way, on this map for my stream.
We were like 21 seconds behind him too. How did he get there so fast?
I don't know. He jumped. Hello, how are you? Oh, you got lots of emotes. Those are so cute. You got all kinds of Eevees. Sad ones, angry ones. So cute. Pipe, pipe, pipe. I'm forever stuck in the spinning thing. Yo. That's your favorite place. Just kidding. Last race, guys. Last race for the Grand Prix. Get ready.
Good old Grand Prix.
Yep. Exclamation play to join the race. Exclamation play.
I better get my ass on that fucking podium.
Alright, I'm gonna hit start button.
Bet you I win.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a wee send off. Almost. I mean, I've got a 1 in 4 chance, to be fair.
1 in 4
They
hits.
They seem like pretty good odds. Or 1 in 5.
Of what?
Winning.
Winning what?
This.
What are you?
Will see.
What?
I'm getting.
He's
top
talking about
podium.
the podium again. He's stuck
podium.
on the podium thing. This is the last race before the podium. So he's like,
top podium.
Pretty sure I won one of the races, so good luck on that.
What are we talking? 3 now?
Yeah.
I think we're 3. So good luck on that.
You're gonna get yeeted. I guarantee it.
Nah, not a chance. We're in the snow.
Getting yeeted.
Snow loves me.
Holy, it's raining so hard I can hear it in my headphones from my mic.
Man, I hope it's not hail or sleet.
No, it's not hail or sleet. It's rain. It's like 76 degrees. It's 76 degrees outside. It's big balls of rain.
This is a bit of a confession right here. It's a bit of a confession right now. So you're saying that it's fucking pelting outside, right? Now in Scotland we always get it raining, and I have my window open when I listen to it.
Yeah, he always has a drizzle.
I have a mask. I have a mask that's got headphones in it, and I always, going to sleep, have to listen to like like white noise or like rain or something like that hitting off of metal. I know, hitting off of metal or hitting it off of like a window.
Off of a sheet metal roof. Yeah. Mate. You know what I fall asleep to? Ancient Aliens.
Same.
Oh gosh.
Same. That right now I'm listening. I'm doing the not not Sean Connery. Who's the announcer?
Oh, jeez.
Well, boy,
Captain Kirk.
we'll see what you're talking about.
Captain Kirk. What the fuck's his name?
Might get yeeted. You better watch
You
out.
messed me up. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but
yeah.
The original
But
Captain Kirk.
I think it's called the
William
Unexplained.
Shatner.
That
William
William
there we
Shatner.
go.
Yeah.
Jesus
But
Christ.
it's called the Unexplained, and it's that same announcer guy
Yes.
that's got that just that perfect tone.
We'll see what
and
happens.
yeah. Like he's
See,
got
I
the
used
perfect...
to fall asleep to Planet Earth, but I've seen it so many times that like it doesn't work anymore.
Do you know the very first Matrix used to
Definitely rigged.
I mean, I watched. I'll be honest with you. It's because I watched
This
it
one
so
takes
many
so long to
times
get through.
that I
Like
liked
square
listening
after
to
square.
it without even watching it.
Sure.
But recently, it's
Look
been
at Dreams way out here already, so he layers down.
outdoor camping. So if someone is, or sorry, in Korea, there's a guy that goes walking through like ports and stuff like that, and slushing with his feet,
So
as
much
well as just like the
snow.
pitter patter of the rain. Love it.
I end
Saves
up in the
me all
band?
the time. The
Oh,
only thing
there
that
it is. I was waiting for the. I was waiting for that voice.
the only thing that I don't like is
Hey, Paul, am I winning? Positive vibes. Say yes. Good luck with
like,
that.
I'm pretty sure I used it earlier. Wiggles.
When I'm watching sleep music and there's thunder and lightning or
I
thunder.
don't think anybody really gets heated on this one.
Because it's just repeated.
So.
I can hear that there's a loop, and I fucking hate it.
I don't think it's a thing
doesn't-
other
it
than
doesn't
Steve
go on
holding
as a
people
drone.
up.
Chain lightning.
Sorry, I'm gonna be quiet for a minute.
Ball lightning.
Oh, Wiggles is coming in for first place.
I was in first. What happened?
I don't know why it doesn't show it. It goes 3 on my screen. Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot.
You're a little delayed.
Yeah, sorry.
Never mind.
Wiggle.
Stop ruining the race for us. Oh my gosh.
Special right now.
Woo! First place, Wiggles.
Well done.
Come on, Splins, you can do it. No, don't fall behind again.
Dreams was with your luck tonight. Oh my gosh. If he's not in first, he's in second.
If I'm not in first, I'm in last.
Yeah. I'm the first loser.
Hey, actually, that's a good point. I'm the first to lose. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Also the first to win.
You can't say that because I think if you make it in the top 3 and you make it to the podium, you're not losing. So
Well,
I'd say
you are
1, 2, or...
if you're not,
I'm not going to be on the podium. I'm not.
You're also the first to win.
I think I'll be on the podium. Maybe.
I'm pretty
Paul's
sure I'm
down.
not.
It's no.
I'll be honest.
Like I think I only won one race. I didn't finish a bunch. Like it's not good.
All results.
I think it's close. It's close.
Grand Prix.
Yeah,
here we
got
go.
third.
Drum roll.
Waggles, if I get top.
Oh, my mic won't pick it up when I do it.
Then.
Oh no. Please.
There we go.
Goes to Wiggles. At least you made it.
Wiggle.
At least you made it, you little chickadee.
Wiggles got third.
Mm-hmm.
Are you
Dreams got
surprised?
second.
Come on.
You got second. No, who got first?
So what you're saying is you're the first loser, I'm the second loser.
Who got first, guys? Who got first? What do you
It's
think?
gonna be you. It's gonna be you.
It's definitely me.
Of course it is. Definitely fucking
rigged.
It is rigged. It is rigged. I don't know how I got first. The point system's weird sometimes.
Rigged.
Agreed. Shame on you, KimonoKat. I mean, I don't have to roll, but
You're a marble.
you know.
You have to roll.
You know. Alrighty.
Wouldn't it be funny if this game was actually based on what you said in Twitch chat? Like, just randomly, it would use your letters from whatever you said, and that's what made it happen?
It'd be like so many letters where was so many points
Conspiracy
or something.
theory, woo!
Yeah. Like, I'm gonna win. I am going to win. There we go. We'll see if it works. We're gonna test your theory.
I don't think it's what you say per se. It's more the letters that you use. So you might want to go like
A.
that.
1, 2.
I'd have a similar theory for Among Us and outfits as far as role selection.
Yeah, Ursula in second place. I think you guys roll many things.
Do tell.
Like if,
Why
for
does it
example,
not
if you wear
tell
a
me on
Miami
screen that you
blazer
guys
or
do
a
that?
jacket,
Wiggles, thank you.
a lab jacket, you're more likely to get
I
engineer.
can figure out how to get a sound command to go off for that.
Interesting. So I
It
want to know
doesn't
what
show
I
on
used
your
to wear
screen?
that would always make me the what do you call it? The intruder? What's the word
I think
again?
it's just because it doesn't show it in OBS, and they gotta
The
figure out how to
imposter?
get it
Yeah.
to
You
show it in
don't see
OBS.
the chips flying
I
up?
would
You didn't see
imagine
that?
anything like that is
Weird.
hard to
It's
implement.
because of OBS.
You got it
I-
figured out last time. Last time you got it figured out.
Yeah, I can see like the activity feed.
Something like
But
horns,
my computer was acting weird, so I
uh,
shut down the stream and wasn't watching the
different
stream.
goggles. Anything that doesn't look
Now I'll be
human
able to see.
would easily land you an imposter role, I
I
think.
fixed it. We'll see. Drops enabled. Watch to earn.
There was one
I
time
didn't
I was
realize there was
playing that
drops
game,
button right now too.
You got
and
one?
I ended up as the imposter like 5 times in a row. That
But
was
believe it or not, a darker color
Pizza
palette
sounds yummy.
also might contribute to that.
perhaps it was in between my
Leave the
heart
play
and
to get on the
soft
track,
palate.
guys! Exclamation play. We had a butterfly, another butterfly, a fiery ball of fire, a heart, a chickadee, and a tiger helmet. Skull thingy. Tiger helmet.
Doesn't look very round.
It's not round, it's a skull.
I don't need to be
Fuck's
round.
sake,
I just
Wiggles.
roll.
Wiggles, what part of
Oh.
fucking round do you see on that, mate?
I mean,
It's a skull.
it is
skull.
roundish.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more ish than anything.
Disney.
It'll roll. Don't worry.
Alright. Let's get ready.
Because I have a jaw,
And-
I
So
can
now
jump.
we know if Mono wins this one,
6.
it is for sure rigged.
Hit the
She
wrong button.
busted out some code before the stream started.
I did. I
It's
busted out all the
absolute
code
Absolute
and
standard.
said I was gonna win. So we're gonna find out. Water
Wait,
park,
what's
yes.
the standard code?
It is the water park.
100100?
Oh, it's
No,
up, down,
it's
up,
like-
down, left, right, A, B, select start.
Yeah, it is.
I typed that out before you started saying
Oh
it.
gosh, everybody took different sides of the water park. That side is a
Oh boy.
octopi with
Up,
all the
down, down,
tentacle
left, right,
lovers,
A, B,
and
start.
this side is for the shark lovers who want to be eaten.
near me code.
So,
Oh, I've never seen this course before. This is pretty cool.
so Dusty, Lady, Wiggles, and Matthew love the tentacles, and Dreams, Cat,
they do.
and
I think I said
Yeah,
it
yeah,
last
yeah.
week, but
Why?
how can you
Like the
how do you
shark.
make an octopus laugh?
With
Tentacles.
tentacles.
With
Tentacles.
tentacles. Sorry.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Hey, you know
I
what?
love
Though? I'm wearing a shirt for it. I'm wearing.
Desi.
I cast Blaster.
Finish line
Or what
into the
you
kiddie
call it.
pool. The kiddie pool. Desi gets first place in the kiddie pool. And goes Wiggles.
Third? Come on, come on, come on. I'll take it.
Slints.
No.
Cat.
Why am I in fifth?
I didn't get
Third,
first. Spark went ST8 through. Wow, that was tragic.
Potato.
What is with the ants? That's crazy.
What a Chad.
I like those.
Did I just get first? No.
No.
First. My
No,
bad.
you
My
didn't.
bad.
No.
Sorry, I had an ego head on me there for a minute.
Yeah.
Alright.
No.
What's that?
I just see my name in the bin, and I was just like, oh.
I'm about to do some sketchy things. What are you doing? 6. What are you doing sketchy?
Excuse me? Sketchy?
Cuts
Pretty
away
sure,
a rubber bank.
I'm pretty sure you were an
Oh boy.
illegal.
He's got some hacks we don't know about. That's what it is.
Yeah. Who?
We gotta mess some stuff up.
We got the joke. We got the joke.
Well, that turns our head 180.
Alright, gonna hit the start button.
You're fucking
Guys,
off.
go. 1 minute. Who's gonna get burnt? I apparently burnt my own bottom. Good job. Sounds like a sunburn. Sounds like a sunburn.
Excuse me, ma'am, your ass is on fire.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I did it. So
Why are
what?
you biting me? That's rude.
Because Iced Kitty.
The rain. I couldn't help it. You look tasty.
Oh, yeah.
Nibble. Nibble.
Oh my god.
Booped Wiggles. I think I booped Wiggles last time. Flash drain this time.
I.
Lady Rain's been booped and
Hi,
splashed.
Wiggles. Kiss the turtle on the cheek. And licks Wiggles. I only bite with consent. Oh. That sounds about right. Rain biting dreams. And ships with Jessie.
Burning the bob.
All right, Matthew the
That's not how you
Kingpin.
did it, right? What is
Oh yeah,
ship.
man. You gotta come up with a ship name. Do it. You guys gotta come up with your ship names. Mathlands. And then, lady, what was yours? With Destiny.
Huh?
Lady Spark.
Yeah, I don't know.
Lady Spark? That sounds like some sort of Marvel comic hero.
It does.
Superhero! Lady Spark!
Yeah, like Kitty Pryde. What was her character?
There goes Clint and Shade and Matthew.
Yeah.
Come on, Slits.
I was actually thinking about Jubilee. My bad.
No.
Yeah.
They are leaving you behind
I
again.
don't know why I said Kitty Pryde. I meant Jubilee.
I knew what you
There
meant.
goes Shade. There's Matthew.
Pride is Shadowcat.
Matthew's got the lucky KimonoKat marble.
Go,
Shade
Gadget
just
Splins.
fell off the track. He yeeted himself. I did rig it.
How am I so far back but in second? That is insane.
I mean,
Kind of unique to that
you're
series.
slow, but you're not as slow as everybody else then?
Yeah, wasn't she from like the Young X-Men or something like that?
Lucky
I forget which.
KimonoKat marble.
I didn't read Marvel growing up, so.
Wow, they bounced
I
me.
did make it. Look at that.
Splits with second place.
Wee woo. Wee woo. Hey.
Which one did you have?
Two
Oh, you had the
shippers.
skull.
We shipped and we made it first and second.
Oh, y'all shipped together. Y'all teamworked, and you both have cat marbles.
Watches.
You both have cat marbles on top of that.
No, I have a skull marble, don't I?
Yeah, but yours is a tiger. Tiger skull. See, there's a tiger in there.
Somewhere.
Yeah. The tiger skull.
Don't open the crate. He'll eat us all.
Oh.
Don't let the raptor out.
Jumped in. Cat and Wiggles are up here somewhere.
I got eaten.
We got
stop running away. I'm chasing you.
We got burned with the crisp.
Don't run away from your feelings.
We won together.
Now it's Matthew's fault. Boost. That's what you get for following, lady. Oh no. Everybody else did not make it.
It's not like I wanted to follow you six.
I now have a theory. Whoever ships wins.
Oh, so you got a ship to win?
I don't think that happened because I think
ship to win. Uh-oh, but I'm already shipped with Spanker 6? I don't even know how to read that.
Yeah.
I'm 6. Oh, I shipped with the bot. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble.
that's
It's
what
not gonna
Matthew's shipping
happen.
with me again. Oh gosh, we're gonna have a triumvirate.
It's gonna be Matthew and Splints again.
Ship with the bot.
They're either gonna win together or fail together.
Those who ship together win together.
Ship together, win together. Oh, turtle got burnt.
Look at that. We're getting a lot of. I forgot the word that I was going to use, but that's okay.
I don't know.
I kept wanting to say integration, but what I meant was interaction. There we go.
Words.
Words are hard,
man.
Oh, it's gone. No. Yeah.
It's God? Oh, well.
It's gone. Shade looks Matthew.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a sus quote. Which one will we get? My butt is so big. Oh boy.
Goodness, I hope it doesn't have any for me. Oh no.
Keep your tongue to yourself, Michigan. Defend himself. Oh, no.
How did I not get in that?
He's not even here to defend himself.
Oh, I didn't play.
Leave
what
right now. Oh, Vigo, leave right now.
I'm an idiot.
What did you do? You didn't get it?
No, I did not.
I don't think
I was too caught up with the shipping.
Yeah, you and Matthew both got left behind. See, told you, win together or fail together, apparently. Neither one of you made it in.
Hey, we were too busy with our budding romance.
Too busy with your romance. Oh no. Boost, eat. Hey, I'm the track holder on this one. I'll explain why I'm in the lead. We're in the dark. Woo. Spooky haunted house. Hype.
Yo, how'd you get an extra large hype?
Right.
It's a thing. You can redeem it with the bit.
Okay.
Oh.
Cool. You can go for the hypes. A wild Ragnarola up here, guys. Poke catch the Ragnarola.
I wish I could extra large that one.
It's Roganrola.
Silly belly button emote we made.
There we go. I
lost those pictures, Kimono. They're gone. The belly button no longer exists.
It has to exist.
It's not on my PC. Apparently, I deleted it while I was making space.
I'm sure it's still in Cuff's Discord. I'm sure he still has it as an emote. How much you want to bet?
I can't believe how funny that was, though. Oh no.
Let me see.
Oh no.
I'm not in the Discord.
Didn't Discord censor it the first time we posted it because it thought it was something naughty?
Yes, it didn't like it.
Damn it. That looks surprisingly like a balloon knot.
It's in the voice chat if you guys want to see the belly button. How did you win? I don't even know. Oh, pretty sure Lady Rain was in first. The Pokemon escaped. Alright, drum roll.
I need to save that picture just so we don't lose it.
It's not gonna let you save it and send it to yourself. It's gonna be like, nope.
You are naughty boy.
Third place.
I can't actually.
Not second.
It's because it's the actual emote, not the.
Yeah, it's the emote. Yeah, that's the server emote.
That's so funny.
You can screenshot it. You can screenshot it.
Splints, you won. wins, you win.
Yes.
I won! Yay!
You're on the top
Even
of
though
the
I didn't play
podium,
in the
man.
Rast race. Did I say Rast laced?
Yeah.
Yeah, restless. So you either had to be a heart or a tiger or a cat, basically, to
Oh
win.
no!
A heart or a cat. That's
No,
what it
it's
is.
because
Good
I
luck.
shipped so hard with so many people.
There, that's for you,
Shipped
Slim.
so
Where's
hard.
our hard? Yes.
Nice.
No, I was talking about an old school game in the arcade called Rastan, and
Congratulations, guys. Getting on the podium.
Fucking
Would you
ninth.
like a larger paddle to
Ninth.
Yes.
dig yourself out of that? Or
Or a minor hat.
No, I'm using a Mirage drive on a Hobie kayak.
If you want to see a crazy emote I got the other day, and people were making it big in that chat. It's a pork sword.
Oh, and when it's big, yeah, I can imagine.
Oh no.
It's a pork sword, and they were making giant pork swords, and I was like, oh my god.
all right, hold on.
J3.
I gotta,
It would be J3's.
It is J3. It's his group. I was like, it's a sausage sword. They're like, yes, it's a pork sword. I'm like, oh my god.
That was the very first game I ever played. No, that's
Pork
a lie.
sword?
Game. It was a cartoon.
I know it was, but it was also a game. However, I need to rephrase.
Super Meat Boy?
Very first game that I played on my uncle's PC.
Apparently, there was a Thundercats game. I was unaware.
There was a Thundercats game.
Yes.
I'm not doubting you. Pork sword.
It's nothing sus, I promise.
Yeah, it was literally called Thundercats. And you can also get
I
it on
still
the DS.
can't get over the fucking belly button.
What belly button?
Do I need to make that an emote live on stream?
Live on stream. Belly button.
We now have a belly button emote. Jeez.
What is
it? Make a belly button emote. That would be so wrong.
Where is it?
I think we have to refresh to get it.
No, I didn't make it, but I'm saying I could.
Oh, okay.
I didn't do it.
That whole night was hilarious, though, because we were dying over this thing.
Oh gosh. Okay. Maybe I will do it.
I don't even remember. Was it like some weird Korean MMO where we took a screenshot and like?
Yeah, it was a character, and we were just took a screenshot, and it told us it was a banned screenshot because we figured out finally it was pinpointing the belly button as something wrong that we shouldn't be posting in Discord. Right. It was a character. Yeah. It was just a character. It was like, Final Fantasy character or something.
And it kept flagging it as inappropriate. Right. That's right. And we were like, why? Oh, it's because of this.
Yeah, because the tiny little belly button on the character, it was like freaking out. Discord was.
Wow.
So we decided just to make it an emo.
We memed the heck out of it.
Okay, let's save that somewhere. Then I gotta watch you guys. Oh,
I can't tell you how disappointed I was.
I know I'm gonna get eliminated. Good luck.
I was so sad when I learned I no longer had that picture. I was like, oh no.
Kind of rigged this again. Yes. Totally. Alright, we go to...
Oh no, I forgot the ship. There we go. Hey, twice in a row. Let's go.
Did you do it?
I did.
The content.
Except they are not racing with me.
Oh, dang it.
So I don't know how this is going to turn out.
Not going to work then.
I was all by myself. But he was looking.
Jesus.
I was all by myself.
Let's see.
Don't worry, Wiggles. I didn't sing the rest of it.
Why not?
It's okay. If you want to know what I'm saying, go listen to the secret track on the album Dookie.
Ew. No. No.
Green Day. Green Day.
Next. Once Shade, Wiggles, and Matthew.
Next.
Everybody was a little panic. Oh no. That's perfect.
He's like, oh no,
That's
it's
perfect. Giant panic button. Exclamation play to get your marble on track, guys. Exclamation play. Gonna burn somebody.
Nico, Nico, Nico.
I'm trying to figure out how to get to my emotes while I'm live.
Dude, I wish my fridge was right here.
I have one.
I know. I need to get one. It's not good.
I got mine at a garage sale for $75.
So most of my mates work in bars.
You're talking like one of the little cube fridges. I think you can get them. You can get them for like that much anyway.
Yeah.
No,
I got that one for free.
Oh, yours is taller. Okay.
Yeah.
So most of my mates work in bars, and see the size that lady, see the size of fridge that lady's got in the background there. They've got like maybe one or two of them because they have it for Jägermeister, you know, just as like a showpiece kind of thing.
Jeez, if I had an ice Jägermeister machine on tap, I'd be in danger.
See, when I get my own place, and I say
I'm in danger.
Yeah.
What
was that from? Is that fucking like my
hero?
I'm in danger.
And then...
So when I get my own house, and I say when because it's a definite,
It's not an if, it's a when.
I want that fridge to be kind of in the background.
Kimono,
like
you're cheating.
A showpiece, but at the same time be just fucking
Get all
loaded
my
with
hacks
alcohol.
It's beautiful.
I don't have to move. I just need to stretch back, like open, grab.
Seriously, you are all the Steves just straight by.
Man goals, absolute man goals.
Where did it go?
If you get this one, I'm calling hacks. Oh, hacks. Okay, no, you're good.
I don't know.
I mean, she got hit one time, but that's it.
You was twice.
Steve's, yes! Oh my god, look at that.
The actual fuck, man.
Oh, what? Oh, no. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Yes!
Ain't no way!
Come on. Oh, Jaffron's the leader on this track. Oh!
And you almost had him beat, too.
No, not almost. It's way late.
Yeah.
Well, no, she was close to it until
she was ahead of him actually.
She got
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that goes Matthew.
At this point, 12 seconds.
Matthew gets first.
My shipper.
I get second. Oh, wrong screen. There we go.
Am I even gonna finish here? Like, am I gonna get Steved off the course?
As a thing.
Dude, I've been watching so many medical dramas that DNR is like drilled into my head.
Do not resuscitate.
Yeah. Oh, I made it in. We're all swimming around in the wooden bowl.
Format is not supported. No, it's in JPEG. How are you not supporting it?
Twitch is like, yo, that's the belly button?
Yeah, find out I get banned because of the belly button.
It's getting censored for the same stupid bot reason. Yeah.
It just doesn't like clip art.
That is right, because initially when we posted it, it was like a full screenshot, like of the entire screen, and it was like,
Laboratory or laboratory?
Laboratory.
Welcome to my laboratory.
Laboratory. I think I made it.
Did any of you ever watch Dexter's Lab?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yes.
Oh my god, loved it.
Same.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of any animation that Gennady Tartanovsky did.
What was the name of the sister? Was it Debbie? What the fuck was
Let's see if I crash my computer here. We're gonna hit start.
Oh, you're making me forget now that you've said it.
It's on the top of my tongue as well. I thought it was
Wish
Debbie.
me luck if it gets laggy. I gotta open Photoshop.
I do think it starts with a D, but
Fuck.
it all starts with a D.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Exclamation play, guys! Exclamation play!
Sorry, that was.
Get your marble on the track. Exclamation play. Let's go!
And then there was the one episode.
DD.
DD. Yeah. DD, get out of my laboratory.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love DD. I love hers.
She was always so over the top. Did I? I think I did. I don't know.
Yeah, you're in there.
Hell yeah, I am.
Weirdos.
Omelette de fromage.
I remember that.
Au français.
It was another Dexter's Laboratory quote. He went around for some reason like saying cheese omelet, and it was just terrible.
There we go. Down the transparent ramen noodles. Okay, so we're gonna hit save on this. File save.
Mr. Spence! In the wind. Oh no, not anymore. Then back again.
Okay, so now we're gonna try this.
Wait, who's in front that is not showing up in front?
No, that's
it is me.
Ghost ball. There's a ghost
ball. Ghost ball. Right, okay.
Yeah.
No, lady, no.
Where did he go? There it is.
No, don't do this to me. Come on, Splints. You can do it. Put your marble into it.
Please work.
You can do it. Put your back into it.
Yeah. This is so fun. Oh. Whoa,
oh, damn.
What?
Damn. Wow, not even touched, barely.
I fell off.
Bye.
Uh-oh, this is going to get me, though. Oh, wait, actually, it's going to push me right into where I need to be. Oh, nope, I got caught up. But it was kind. It was only one revolution.
Ooh,
oh, nope, it's going to be 2. Oh, now it's going to be 3. Ay.
Jeez.
All right, I'll take 3 as long as it lets me go. All right.
Dang,
what
going
a
round and
moment.
round. I'm just going round and round.
Yo.
Round and round. What is that song?
He brings me round.
Right, baby, right round.
It's a thing.
It reminds me of the wedding singer every time.
I'm just glad that you didn't mention the website, so we'll stay off of that.
There goes Shade. Jesse, congratulations! Next map. Love is in the air.
Will you really?
Well, I have bad news. This emote won't load. I wonder why. Savings in Discord.
It's still
getting
rejected because it looks like sus.
It won't load. No matter how many times I resave the file, it just spends.
That cracks me up so much. Oh my god.
They won't do it. It's like, nope, you're not gonna get away with this. Like, okay, it's not as sus as you think it is, but it won't load. Hi. We tried. But yeah. 30 seconds, guys. Exclamation play to get your marble on the track. I burned a little bit this time. Hurry.
Oh, you motherfucker!
That's too funny that even Twitch is like, nah, sus.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like sus. And I'm approved for instant load, so it definitely has some kind of scan system in it.
What does it think it is?
I'm
just kidding. I know exactly what it thinks it is.
Why does my butt feel a little warm?
Yeah, that might be why.
I'm sure you didn't poop.
I did not.
Did you have a president? Sorry, never mind.
Ah,
Rando! Hi! Welcome to the stream, Rando. Splunk is in the lead, as always, right now.
yeah, I think you got podium.
What the heck?
The thing's not even round.
Sure, it
Steve.
wasn't. Then I don't know. Could have been. I have
Yeah,
no
you were.
clue.
And I remembered, it's not just us. We're live. Go, gadget splints.
I forget that sometimes too. I tried. I don't think I've ever done anything inappropriate.
Oh,
but...
I've had a few things slip by. Oh, when we did AI like 3 weeks ago, I forgot that we were still streaming, and I was like, oh god. Bagels, how'd you get anime?
Dude, we're like hanging out.
Neck
You
and
want to hang
neck.
out? You want to hang out?
Hey,
I'll hang
buddy,
out.
how you doing?
Let's hang out.
Hey.
Dude, we're like holding hands down this fucking thing all the way down.
Right?
You ever seen Night at the Roxbury? We're like sitting in the car going.
No.
Somehow they got ahead of us though. Look at that. Like way ahead of us.
My apologies for being kind of gross. How's it been so far? It's been good. We've been goofing off. You're fine.
What do you mean gross? We've been pretty gross.
You
did it.
Congratulations, 6 on your first win of the night, I believe.
I still can't believe that the belly button's not allowed.
And Shane has the fastest time on this track. Yep, no belly button. I tried 3 times, it wouldn't load. I even tried reformatting it. It just said nope.
It's so funny because it's so innocuous. All right, have a good one.
Right, good night, lady.
Bye.
Is it me, or does that slick kind of look like a tongue? It kind of does.
A little bit. That picture is like 50 by 50 pixels. Like, how are they
like
interpreting anything?
It's like an eye and a tongue. Thank you for the leg.
A lurk.
Look. Lick. Yeah.
My mind is elsewhere.
Yeah. Join. Okay. Start. Play. Exclamation play. If you're going to join us for this race, guys. Exclamation play.
I do that.
You did what?
No, nothing. Is that a command?
Run.
Yeah. You can run away.
Do you have a spot where you have all these commands?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have for the sound commands or subscriber commands, so they're right here for the sound ones. And then the regular ones are cookie. These are the cookie commands. Oh, cookies, I think. That's the cookies commands. And then there's some more commands here. But there you go. And then I have a spreadsheet. Those are the ones I have on rotation that pop up to tell people what they are.
Kimono, I think I've discovered what's wrong
sound
with the belly
commands.
button.
So like, oh, you know what? Though I have you muted. Chat. I have your.
It's the way that there's shading on it. There's a vertical line.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I
thought it was something else at first, but
sometimes you can like do like contrast changes and turn it a little grayscale, and you could get away with
it. No, this one is because of the alignment of the belly button and the shading.
Imagine
it's
running into a giant talking rat on the street. I would feel like, okay, where are the Ninja Turtles?
I was just gonna say, are you a Ninja Turtle?
Master Splinter?
Fucking Donatello?
Master Splinter? Look, why is it just Wiggles and Gat now? What happened to everybody?
I was just trying to go.
Are we dead? I don't know. It used to be Marble Adventure Map, but apparently it's Marble Death Map.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Go on, you're passing.
No! Come back, Cat. Not to the hole. Oh, that's fine, because there's trap doors in the...
Oh, you... Oh, bye.
Oh, we're all
there's
gonna DNF.
Trap doors, and there's eating things. So, yeah, I'm level 5. I'm level to get...
You're not even gonna make it.
I'm gonna be back.
Oh, that scared me, just looking at it.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Okay. Oh, look, there's little divots in there.
But I'm
okay, I'm going down the hole. Get in the hole.
Wow.
Oh, thank you. Welcome.
Kimono got in.
Marvelous. Yes. Daniels got hunted. Yes, he did. Space, the worst place to have traps that can yeet people. This is true.
What I want to know is how did I win last race? Like, I don't feel like I won that
people.
much.
Welcome, you're Sulfur King. Welcome.
Sulfur? Bifurcating? What?
What? Okay. Marble Centarium. Let's go. Join! Exclamation play! Join the race, guys! Exclamation play!
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Welcome back.
Let it wiggle.
Apparently, I cracked this up. Let's go!
2 seconds, I need to turn my camera on. But when I do, every cunt stops.
Please.
Oh gosh, Dreams is back.
Cares if
Dreams is back and he plays, then he's gonna get first place again.
No, you're not. I didn't ship him.
He's gonna get first place again.
What number do I pick? Well,
definitely 11
you did ship him.
Definitely
no. Ships is rigged.
We're winning, boys.
Well, you know what, Whistles? It
oh,
boils down to one thing, mate. We're both the same number, but you didn't fucking put a space between it, though, did you?
Are you playing?
Yeah, it does.
Don't matter.
Doesn't it?
Come on, Whittles. You're Sulfur King. Thank you so much for the follow. Watch out for the pickle.
As somebody who writes bots, I can tell you it doesn't matter.
Look, Kimono done this thing before and it says that my ass is on fire. Yeah,
Yeah, rar.
Fucking rar. Whatever
Yeah,
the fuck
that
it
thing.
was, right? And then does it with fucking Wiggles. Where the fuck are you, Wiggles?
On the track.
Yeah, does it with Wiggles. Ships with Kimono.
Got your back.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, what the fuck? Do you know what, Kimono? I'm fucking winning this. Fucking winning it. Alright?
That's like. I wish giant talking cats were real. I definitely would love to hug one. That would be really cool.
See,
I need like, real
I
cat
reckon
ears and a real cat tail. Be a
to the
real
same
anime girl.
degree that one person can't love tequila and love Sambuca at the same time. You've got
Giant
one
cats.
or you got one or the other, right? Now, naturally, with no disrespect, I'm a dog guy. Massive dog guy.
Oh, cute.
I've only met
Wiggles
2 cats in my
and
life
Space yet
that
again.
I
Yes.
would love to have be my own cat. However,
We have cat dreams, Liz.
cats are so
So
fucking
fucking
temperamental that
Daddy Wiggles shade.
I mean,
Yeah,
even
there's
if they,
definitely personalities. Yeah.
even if
They
they
got
aren't feral, mate, they're all
personality.
fucking feral. They're all just fucking
You're feral.
weapons.
Go
Yeah,
speed
that's right.
skins, go. Oh.
What bugs me with it is that I could go up to
There we go.
any fucking cat and be like, oh, it's so nice, and they'll let me pet it, blah blah blah, and I get the fucking the weak spot, and they're like, oh, this is lovely, and you stroke the belly, and that's cool. And then 3 seconds later, fucking wants to kill me.
Yeah.
It's your
cats-
personality.
yeah,
It's,
cats know, man. They know you're an asshole.
That's not a personality.
yes,
That's
it
their
is.
that's
You
their
don't-
fucking.
You don't
That's
think
their
cat
Anybody
language.
who adamantly hates cats is an asshole because
Okay,
cats love people.
So
They
hold
really
on.
do.
I think if you listen to what I said earlier
Yeah,
on,
he's
is
not saying he
I
hates
love,
cats. Cats hate, like, he'll love the cats for a little bit, but like they'll give him love for a little bit, but then after
yeah,
that they
and then
turn
it's like
on him.
fucking mate,
Yeah.
fucking
So
that thing.
yeah, because they know,
Oh,
because
you don't know how to.
they've had a sniff
You
at
don't
you
know how
for
to
long
touch
enough.
the
They're like,
pussy,
Yeah.
do you?
this
Well, a lot
guy's
of
a dick.
times-
Fuck him.
Well, and a lot of times
Mate.
it's not even that, it's body language. Like, if you're naturally a heavy footed person, you're naturally a loud person, you're
So
naturally a
basically,
person
yeah, thanks.
that makes
Yeah, no,
quick
worries.
movements,
Yeah, you know what? I'll save
you
the best.
scare
You don't
them.
need to continue. It's cool. I understand. It's fine. I don't understand.
No,
It's just fucking with you.
It's just naturally thing
I know,
though.
I'm
Like,
only joking.
it's
I
kind of
understand.
like a guy wearing a ball cap and walks into the room and the dog gets scared. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
that's-
Like, dogs do it too.
No,
Just
it's
cats
even just
do
having
it.
a beard.
more
Dogs
extremely.
are like
Dude, my
really
dog,
weird about
my
beards
dog
sometimes.
Benson,
Buddy.
if he sees a guy with a hat and
How is
like,
your marble
hat and
even moving
glasses,
that fast in space?
dude,
It's
You know,
got
he'll
it's
bark at
boosted.
them.
The biggest fucking reactive thing I've ever really had for as a dog, like a dog coming towards me, is see whenever I'm wearing a high vis, like a high vis jacket or something, mate, I am fucking like the target. It's like a bull with fucking some
Hi,
cutscene
Zach.
red.
What's up, Zach?
I was gonna wait to say hi until Aiden started talking, but I figured I'd have to go to bed before then.
And I did stop specifically because you came in. By the way,
Aw.
I liked all of your architecture photos.
You did.
And your fucking I did.
Thank you.
So what's for the hostilities?
I think I liked one of them.
I mean, it's just what I do, bud.
Shooting shit, mate. Shooting shit.
I'm not on Facebook too much, so I don't scroll far enough to see all of them. But I liked one.
Did you
I don't
share
think
it?
I
though?
have you on Facebook.
Oh no,
Why
because
not?
you're in Texas, and most of
So?
the people who know me are in Maine.
Exactly. Why can't I
I do
design
have
houses in
one-
Maine?
I
He's
do
not
have
building
one
them.
question
Are you
for
legally allowed to?
100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, then I'll share it.
I do have one question for you, Zach.
Wiggles, add me on Facebook. Share my shit.
Splits was
The
right
building-
place, followed by Stupid King,
I gotta go get a beverage.
Wiggles, and Shade.
Zach, the building that you created that had the kind
Which
of
one?
Japanese,
The Haffanese?
Eat it off and
No,
drop the last place.
the Japanese,
It happens.
I would say
Hang
inspired.
on a second. Aiden, stop for a second. Kimono, are you streaming?
Yeah, we're
Then tell
playing
Aiden
marbles.
to shut the fuck up.
Oh,
He doesn't have to talk about this shit while you're streaming. That's not fair. You can wait
You
until
also
you're
have to
done.
understand she has us so lowered that they barely hear
Well,
us.
I know,
anyway.
but it's rude. You know, it's rude.
It depends on how low it is.
wooed.
I haven't looked today.
Okay, I'm gonna
How
go make a
wooed.
beverage. I'll be right back.
How wooed.
For 3
Aiden,
My
minutes.
first
Aiden can
again?
DM me.
Mudslide. You caught the Pokemon.
On the podium.
How am I able to check and see which
He's
Pokemon I
sliding
caught?
into
Oh,
them DMs.
I mean, unless
if
Kimono
you go
wants
down
to promote my
to
business on her stream, then I'm totally cool with that. But I'm not.
under this,
But
if you
I'm
go
not.
to, if you go to under the channel, there's a box below the stream, and it's got the Pokemon in it, and you can look in there and check your Pokebag and see which Pokemon you got. You can buy
and everything.
Pokeballs. You
go to
can
the store,
trade.
buy your- yeah.
You can actually battle.
Get some of this.
Why is it not moving on to show
Little's
that I
in
won?
third place, by the way. We're on the podium.
It's been on this for like a long time. It should move on
There we
and
go.
show that I
Shade.
won.
Let's. Well, I have to click, and I got distracted, so I didn't realize.
I was only joking. I didn't think I actually did, but all right.
You did split. You did win. Look at you.
All right, Ted.
There's a big Pokemon box on the channel here. Let me go.
We have been. I'm not sure if we're. She could tell you.
Yeah, it's like a poke shop box. It's red and white, and it says shop, battle, coin shop, and then like there's Pokeballs.
Give it permissions to your account.
Oh yeah, you have to give it. It's called Pokemon Community Games, and you got to give that extension permissions. It's down below the stream.
It's okay. It only takes 100,000 from your bank account every like 3,000 years. You'll be fine.
It doesn't take anything. You just gotta give it permission, and then you'll be able to see.
And then Kimono takes ownership, and your bank account's fucked.
I don't. It's not real money. Oh my god.
It's like one of the, like when they say, oh,
it's real as Pokemon is, all right.
Yeah. We would like to
Hey.
investigate the problem with your computer. If you don't mind typing in the IP address, then we can, take ownership of your computer. That's what it's going to be like. Just takes complete ownership of it. Yeah.
Hey,
I'll show you what it looks like.
Pokemon community.
I'll show you what it looks like.
Oh no, we're gonna get an Inception picture here.
No, I'm being good. There we go. There. When you scroll down the screen, that's what you'll see. It says I own 440 Pokemon, and if I scroll through this list, it'll show me how many of each I own.
However, it only looks like that because she gave it permission. You have to give it permission.
Oh, you're watching it for your mobile app? Yeah, it might be a little bit different navigation for mobile app, but you can definitely do it when I'm offline and you're not watching the stream. You could definitely go down there and do it. It might be easier then.
How many did you steal?
So it'll be under the About Us information at that time. So like if you went away from my stream and looked at the About Us, then you could see it. But that's what it looks like.
Let me think about that. Like on the mobile app, I'm not sure that even shows up.
I think it does, but it's a little bit more difficult to get to.
Where's my Twitch app?
What?
Entertainment. All right.
I'm gonna pull it up now too. I'm like right here. I'm gonna find it.
Oh. Okay. What do you want to know?
How do you get to the About Us?
We're trying to figure out if the below her stream page, if you scroll down, if the Pokemon community.
No, I'm
oh yeah.
What Aiden's trying to figure out.
Oh.
Zach, text me your Facebook thing.
So yeah, on mobile when you go to
like what your name is on Facebook.
Oh, on the mobile app, it doesn't show any of that.
I don't have your.
Well, I found it. Yeah, it does. I found it. You go to About, and then you can scroll down.
I'll send you
About.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking like.
This is all I see. There's like nothing.
Well, here, let me check it on a different streamer. Yeah. Like here, I just went to Summit, and you see home, About, schedule, videos, clips. So when you click on the About, and then you scroll down, and you see all their About information, it's right there.
But what I do like.
Oh, if you click on, okay. If you're watching the stream, you can't see it. You have to go to their page.
You have to go to my page.
Yeah.
So it'll be easier to do it when I'm like not live, and then you can go through and clean out your box and see which Pokemon you got.
The detail of that and how you tied it into a fucking flat surface. Regardless, My bad. Getting
Actually, I don't know if the extension works on mobile.
It doesn't show it.
Yeah, it doesn't. No wonder you can't see it. So the only other option then is browser. You'd have to go to Twitch on your browser versus the app to see it. That stinks. So
However,
yeah,
you can still interact with it via the chat commands like PokeCatch, whatever. Like,
yeah, there's a whole bunch of.
I don't know what the commands are to buy, but they exist. Like, you can do it all through chat. You don't have to use the little app list.
There's the commands.
Yeah,
So
there
you can. And then, like, if I want to buy Pokeballs, I think this is if you do Pokedex, I think it tells you how many you got in there. Pokedex. Yeah, that tells you how many Pokemon I've got. And then you can like poke shop too, because you can like buy supplies you need. Let's see. Like, it'll probably tell me I don't have enough money. Oh, I do have enough money. Sweet. Poke shop.
Yeah, so Wiggles, just so you know, I'm doing like builder marketing weeks. So like I posted one project a day from one builder this week, and then next week's another builder, one project a day, et cetera, et cetera.
There you go.
And you do some really good work, man. You really do.
Thank you. Then when Aiden comes back, I'll fucking teach him some things, you know, because he's the one with the architecture degree. Idiot.
Stop. Anyway, so yeah, all the Pokemon stuff you can do through chat commands. You don't have to use the little.
Yeah. Be right back in case your stream ends before I return. I just want to let you know I'm definitely glad it's not fun. It's good to see you too, Rando.
How I did something, and
I know I'm just being a.
That's all good. It's all good.
He's like, I don't know how you did that. I'm interested in the details. I'm like, you're the one with the architecture degree. Figured the fuck out.
I just meant let's not wind anybody up because they're gonna get revving.
I know.
Not the channel for it either.
I applied for a job with a company that wanted somebody that knew how to use Revit, and I was like, well, I don't know how to use Revit, but I'm a motherfucker at AutoCAD.
I brought that up as a joke. Okay, yeah. Anyway,
no, I did.
It was
hilarious.
No, I've been listening to you all the time.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't say anything bad.
And there isn't going to be a moment
Here,
where I'm getting.
Aiden, you can see the roof here.
The
I
roof.
Like
the roof. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water. Let the burn.
Burn.
Just so many.
I skipped it. Jeez, I self-edit. Look at you.
So many shapes.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
It just curves in from that point.
Exclamation play to get your marble on the track. Exclamation play.
Oh, marble on the track. Play what?
Exclamation play.
Wait,
anything.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Everyone. Am I subbed? I don't know if I'm subbed.
You don't need to be subbed to play. It's fine.
I know, but I'm trying to figure out which marble I want.
Get your marble in.
Exclamation.
Ooh, number 4 looks badass. I want number 4.
Good. Don't be taking my 5.
That's fine.
Don't be taking my fucking 13 neither. But anyway, I was just curious. You show me just a roof plan. I will. The detail, like the detail is what I like.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you mean by detail.
He wants to see the interior.
What is
of
this?
The intersection of that.
Yep.
Let's see. Do I have any more pictures of it? No, that's the only picture I got.
Okay.
Well, I don't have any other pictures.
Who is streaming? What is this? PUBG?
Yeah.
That's B.
No, I knew it was you, but I meant like, who were you watching?
No, it was B. Blackout.
Oh, okay.
I was streaming my screen so Aiden could see the architecture stuff.
Oh, and I was right. He's playing PUBG. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Irrespective, I just wanted to say, like what Wiggle said, you do.
Wait, why am I not in the race? I hit play.
I don't know what you did.
B.
You ran away.
It would be great if my workload resembled my work ethic.
Little scupper.
You mean heavy?
Damn it.
So does Dreamweaver.
Yeah, shit died, brother.
It's gonna be a short race.
Work died. It's dead.
Mm-hmm.
All I do is work.
It's election year right now, man. People aren't building houses.
That's not even why. That's not even why.
It's a major part of it.
Interest rates are high. It's election year.
Interest rates have been high for like 3 years.
Yeah. Well,
I know, but
and they're growing.
Statistically speaking, people don't spend money in an election year.
No, it's not a politics talk. It's just that it affects our business too. On election year, it don't fucking matter who you're voting for. It's on election year we slow down. Engineering firms slow down. Manufacturing.
What I actually meant was I don't think chat cares.
You guys are chat.
Fair.
Hard to chat anyway.
I'm hard to chat. Zach, did you just hear that? Oh, I see him. He's on my mark. He's in the trees.
Rigged.
How did I not get in?
I'm not paying attention to that. I'm
Apparently, I already won, but
I'm actually gonna turn him down. Like now that he's playing PUBG, it's
not winning.
Freaking loud as shit.
Oh, this is rigged. Kimono's winning. That's not fair.
Type exclamation chat or exclamation hacks. And then
Wiggles licked me. Gross.
Ew. You got booped. Nope. It was somebody else, but.
I got that song stuck in my head.
Now you're getting targeted because you just got bit too.
The roof is on fire.
Good to know, Kimono.
Like the Discovery Channel. Anyway.
That's a different song.
I know. I just thought I'd get your mind off the roof.
Exclamation play to get your marble on the track, guys. Exclamation play.
On the Discovery Channel. Here we go now. Wait, what the fuck?
Zach got burnt.
No, don't burn me.
You got everything happen to you. You've gotten bit, you've gotten burnt, you've gotten licked.
Why am I picking on...
Wait, who bit me?
Oh, Mr. Parmy! Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing awesome.
Jakes.
Yes, then they stepped away for a minute. They're just lurking, so you're picking on them while they're lurking. You're so mean.
That's so terrible.
I know.
If I splash them, I'm gonna die.
Okay.
I splashed.
Splash wiggle. Seeking poke catch. My name is blah 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 blah. Prepare to die. I forget what it is.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my
yes.
father. Prepare to die.
That.
Dance with
yeah, I've watched that movie a lot.
Yes.
Princess Bride, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I didn't even say the full thing. My name is Inigo Montoya. I can't even say it. I
can't either.
Montoya.
Inigo Montoya, you are the five-fingered or the six-fingered man. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Prepare to die.
He didn't even say that second part. He just said, "You killed my father. Prepare to die."
I thought he said something about the six-fingered man because he was always looking for the six-fingered man.
He did, but not.
He does in like a different part, but not in that way.
Okay.
Yeah, not that phrase.
Fair enough. I'm remembering it the way I would like to.
How many fingers do you have? He asked everybody.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
I saw where they're supposed to be like remaking Princess Bride, and Fred Savage is going to play the grandfather reading to another child.
Oh boy!
But it's going to be a different story.
I can live through that. That would be okay.
Yeah, as long as it's Fred Savage reading a different story.
It better be different though. No rodents of unusual size. Like
I mean, it could never be the same because Andre the Giant won't be there.
No.
Right?
Yeah, it's the same.
I'll never forget seeing the picture of Andre the Giant holding a regular tin of beer, and it looks like this tiny little thimble.
It looks like LP holding a can of beer, except for way more extreme.
A fucking can of Coke.
That's what gets me about tall people is you don't realize how big they are. They're not just tall; they're big. Like their hands and everything is just bigger.
Not true for all of us. Gosh,
It's
feels
fun.
Vince, you're a
really,
dirty birdie, dude. I know exactly where your fucking head went.
Really getting picked on.
Dirty birdie.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Something tells me some people in here don't know that I'm 6'5".
No, I don't know. You're 6'5", so yeah.
He is, but
no, I watched this video of this. To be fair, I watched this video of this girl that's 7 foot, and she like shows herself ducking under doorways, and she says her hand compared to like a Red Bull can, and it's like right here.
Oh my God,
it looks like a tiny little can in her hand.
Winner, chicken dinner.
I fucking won.
Yeah, one race.
Yep.
Zach,
Let's
you're
go.
6'5".
Let's go.
Zach, you're 6'5", and you're kind of like a skinny dude. My
Not
brother's 6'5".
not anymore.
Dude, my brother's 6'5",
He says that, but he's still
like,
string bean compared to me.
Dude, my brother's 6'5", and he's like 3 1/4, but built like a brick shit house.
Okay.
Like he's a fucking giant.
I'm 6'5", 250 with a beer gut. So.
You're like. You're like 11 inches taller than me. 5'4".
You're 5? I didn't realize.
Oh no, that's 12. Yeah. Oh, I can't math. Yeah, math for you.
Zach,
I don't know.
B fucking
I don't know how tall it is.
really got me good last
I mean, not bad. I gotta keep playing. Gotta keep playing marbles. Yes.
Yeah, it was the one picture of me
I
holding
think
up
J3's doing marbles tomorrow.
Stein. And he goes, wow, look at that barrel. Oh, and the beer is also big. I was like, what?
Sorry.
The keg.
Yeah, he says, look at that keg. Oh, and the beer is also big. Yeah.
Exclamation play, guys.
It was a picture that T took of me when we were at like one of the places we went out. It was messed up, B. Okay, first of all, B, you don't have a hard time saying that.
This is the last leg of the race.
Hey,
we will see. We will see.
I win.
Who wins?
Just saying, I win.
All I do is win.
No matter what. I mean, I'm 1 for 2 right now, so I'm.
Yeah, you might get podium.
It's not bad.
All right.
Zach, I was first last time, but fair enough, you weren't here.
No, you weren't. Kimono won the last one.
No. Okay, maybe it was the previous one then.
Okay. Yeah, that was before I was here. Good job, Spence.
Yeah.
Yay!
I'm proud of you.
FYI, Mono's won like twice tonight.
I think it was more than that, but
Cheating ass.
Something like
That's
that.
what happens when you're.
Something like that. I'm just a pro at this game. I'm a pro at this game. That's what it is.
Dude, I've got my controller out and everything. It's really weird. I don't understand how you're winning.
Where's I can't see the,
Right here?
the track. What's going on?
It was me.
Is there a boost? Can we boost?
Yeah, that's it.
You can boost.
Does that shit work?
No.
Oh.
No, it's just made up.
It used
It's
to.
a joke.
Yeah,
it's
look.
a joke. No. Yes, the bot responded,
it used
but it's
to, and
a
then-
joke.
Mona, have you ever done the battles?
The battle royale where you hit each other, yeah, you target each other and you just hurt each other, yeah. There is like
I was in the lead. What happened? I got stuck on the ceiling?
Yeah, get good.
You're
Oh no, I still won.
Yeah.
Wow.
Congrats.
Wow.
Alright. It's okay. I got a podium. It's fine.
Yeah, that's one of the we can do one of those maps.
Hey, look, Zach, you can also do this. Look in the chat.
Oh, yeah, no, but see that's fake. Boost used to be a real thing in marbles.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you had like channel points that you could spend on it or something.
No,
but...
no, it was just built into the game.
What?
It was never built into the whole game. There was a special set of the game that you could play that had it. But
yeah,
people thought it was.
Correct.
Yeah.
Dude, I've always thought a game for Twitch that would be amazing would be a game where people could spend biddies on like
who gets the podium
favorite player, kind of like Hunger Games, right? Like,
yeah, that would be cool.
Zach got first place on the podium.
Look at you! I didn't even podium at all.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
Yeah. Really have much of a competition.
He just shows up. Hey, yeah, welcome to the
community.
Yeah,
because I got a first in 2 seconds. Yeah, so suck it, Splints.
All right, Royale is one that you can attack each other and things like that. So we'll do a Royale.
You can.
Oh god, are we doing this right now?
Yeah,
I'm
you
so
gotta pay
bad at
attention.
this one.
Do I
I'm so
have to
bad at
win?
this one.
Ooh, Scarlet Spectre Forest.
Yes, Aiden.
Oh,
Aiden, listen closely. Pay attention to the balls. Exclamation target whoever you want to hit.
Target space in the name. Yeah.
Yep. It's like exclamation.
My ball, and then exclamation
target.
Yes. Well, no,
Lince.
don't target somebody right off the bat. You need to make sure they're near you. Wait until you see what happens on the field.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Just be. Yeah, and we gotta wait until we start. I gotta start the timer. So, exclamation play to get in, guys. Exclamation play.
Gotta get in it to win it.
Yip, yip, yip. Come on, Mr. Parmy.
Exclamation target. Who? What? Or
whoever you want to target.
We're all targeting Moto.
Space, no space.
Space.
Thank you for the raid. Hurry up, raiders, if you want to get in on this battle royale.
Repeated, but it's a single space.
Welcome. You gotta wait until the race starts, though, before you hit target.
I know, just
the copy pasta. Yeah, your copy pasta.
Coming after Mono.
Welcome.
You and Mono.
Me?
You.
I understand that. I do. I do
British
understand that.
Twitch demon VTuber. Oh, go. Exclamation play, guys. Exclamation play. Lurk. Hype. Nico. Uh-oh.
Situation.
There we go. I'm gonna target Splints.
I can't see
Where am
shit.
I? Oh,
I got.
There.
I got 20-second advert.
Did you guys? Oh no, Zach's already out.
Oh, you go to the art. You go to the art as well.
Oh, we're so close together.
Wait, no, I'm not out. I took somebody out.
Oh yeah, you took Wiggles out. I read it wrong.
Sorry, Wiggles.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. I mean,
Wiggles, I targeted you, and he and I ended up bouncing off each other.
If it's your little health bar at the top.
him, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I got my karma.
The guy took out Rand.
And I got my dogma.
I didn't see it. I had an advert.
Great move.
Good. Parmy and Zach's health bar. Oh my gosh.
I'm out, Zach.
Finally out of ads. Hi you guys. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. We're battling marbles here. How are you? How was your stream? I hope you're having a good Friday.
UFO.
Oh, what the hell?
I don't know.
We don't need a UFL right now. What? You just drop stuff on us?
Oh, Zach, I thought I had you.
Thank you so much for gifting Zach a sub. Oh no, Zach.
Thanks, Wiggles.
Zach, that's bad news.
What happened? Did I die?
No, you almost got
you're still
teleported
good.
by a UFO.
You need to target Mr.
Army, it auto did. It auto does at some point, like when you're the last two people. Zach wins!
Look at
Zach
you.
beat Parmy.
Hey, Zach.
But
I'll
thank
have
you.
know, I did pretty well.
You did.
I am good. Stream was good. Got rated, so thought I'd pass it on. Thank you so much, Insomnidias. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Congrats. All right, we'll do that again.
I'm a Marbles Pro.
We'll pick a different map.
You remember how much Rage did this back in the day?
Mono, you were targeting me. No wonder I got wrecked.
I did. I targeted you.
I'm just kidding.
See, Coliseum, Woodland
Rage,
Warzone.
We used to watch him do this all the time.
Winter Wonderland. Prime.
Scarlet Spectre Force, because that's one of my kids' names.
Which one? This one? All right.
You named your kid Spectre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Or Forest.
Thank you, Turtle.
I'm not Michael Jackson, okay? I didn't name my kid like Apple.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Spooky Forest.
Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah, it was
Exclamation point again.
No, one of his names is like
Exclamation
Xener.
point. How are we in the trees? What the heck?
Oh, this is creepy. This is just like my child.
Oh, we're just floating above the floor.
Your child's creepy.
Fuck yeah, she is, dude.
Oh god.
How old is she? She's already terrifying.
Look at the list.
Oh well, okay,
Look at
that makes
those
sense. Yeah, she's probably terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Anybody else? Exclamation play if you want to join the battle royale and fight.
Closest to
Target each other.
Wiggles right off the rip. Sorry, Wiggles.
Wiggle.
Is she doing like the whole like corpse makeup yet, or?
I mean, her favorite colors are black and red, and any combination of the two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She's like totally into goth stuff then.
So your older son though, what's he into?
I like how some of the marbles have turned red too. If you notice, different patterns turned red. Not all of them. It's
He's into like vintage shit, which is kind of cool.
Dude, that is cool. Wow. All right.
Yeah, like for his birthday, you know what the Spirit of St. Louis is?
Yeah, the old plane.
The first transcontinental. Yeah.
Oh, I hope you made it for me. Yeah, you made it.
He wanted a phone from that, from like 1929.
Oh, how cool is that?
Oh, dude, it's fucking super sick.
What? He wanted a phone?
Yeah.
Like a phone from the airplane?
Yeah.
What? Wiggles.
I don't know if the target thing works.
No,
it tells you whose name you're targeting above you.
I'm targeting. Okay, I am targeting.
Sorry, I assumed you were targeting,
You're targeting me, Split.
Targeting cat. We know. Harvey.
I just assumed. I was upset that two to three people were targeting.
Took me out.
I was like, what? Yeah, we gotta go after this person.
We're down to 4 already.
We gotta go after this
Oh,
person.
Harvey got out. The Desi and Splints.
Alright, I can't type fast enough. Oh no.
Dude, piece of advice. Type in exclamation target.
Splints won.
Splints, here's a piece of advice. Type in exclamation target space at.
No, I know. No, I know. But I couldn't figure out who was next because it happened so quick. It was like boom, 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 boom. People were dead.
Yeah, by the time you see it, on the stream with the delay, it's hard to like keep up with it. But you know,
especially when 3 people die quickly.
Splits, you just
it does die.
Non-alcoholic beers, okay? Then you can keep up.
That's soda.
No, actually, well, anyway.
Alright, let's do this one.
Come on, Split. Let's argue what makes
bumper balls.
No, I was gonna say Heineken NAs are pretty good.
One of those maps was called Bumper Balls.
Bumper balls.
Bumper balls.
Bump your balls.
I'll bump your balls, Splints.
Oh boy. Alright.
Come here, boy.
Exclamation play on the track. Exclamation play.
We are.
If you want to fight.
Alienate some people.
Like them French fried Splits balls and mustard.
French fried.
Have you never seen?
Oh, and Sammy Diaz is in here and show us how it's done. We're in trouble.
Sling Blade? Have you never seen Sling Blade?
Oh, dude, it's the best.
Well, there's Sling Blade, and then there's the other movie, Deliverance.
Oh, yeah, no, they didn't say nothing about that. Deliverance is just about squeal like a pig, boy.
likes to wiggle.
Let's get to wiggling.
It's the jiggling.
Oh boy. Alright, I gotta figure out who I'm targeting this time. Oh boy. Target. Alright, I got my target figured out.
Going down.
Dude, I've been lined up for a while now. I'm like,
tells me who I'm going after.
I know who I'm going after.
I can't fucking see where the hell I am on this board.
You don't exist.
Doesn't matter.
You're there.
We got a top 10 situation.
Thanks for the sub, Wiggles. Appreciate it.
There.
Ooh,
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go with that to start with, I think.
Oh, I'm going after Desi.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Poor Desi. Two of us went after Desi. Poor Desi. Target cat. Oh no.
Oh man, I'm already almost dead. Wiggles, leave me alone.
Splits is dead.
I'm dead.
No, I couldn't even secondary target.
I'm not dead.
Zach is out.
Oh, why'd you have to tell me? I hadn't seen it yet.
Sorry.
Just like ruined the movie.
I know. I was in the middle of typing my command. You're like, Splits is dead. I'm like,
You guys are on the same. I can tell you guys cheat codes. I know, because the stream. I know.
Hold on a minute. You're not trying to
have a winner.
Delay?
Yes.
Twitch. Yeah.
Tell me more, baby. Please tell me more.
Oh, damn it.
Ah, congratulations, Sensory. Yes. New guy luck. Yes.
I was say that word again?
It's not what you thought it was.
Insidious?
Yeah, it's not inside of me. It was.
Y'all get
one
bad.
it probably killed you.
Anyone else love the smell of wet grass?
It depends on which kind you're talking about. I'll be right back.
I mean, like the air, like the rain hitting the grass, like the actual like turf.
Okay, I'm gonna keep racing, but I'll be back.
Okay.
I'll be here.
Fucking love
This might be my last one, guys. Though, just to let you know.
All good. Oh yeah, all good.
Because I'm tired too.
I was gonna say you're actually staying on longer than you normally do.
I know. And my head's pounding, so I'm like, I need to stop.
Thank you. But fun. I love marbles.
Explanation play, guys. Explanation play to join your
you're talking about is called ichor.
I fucking love that smell.
Yeah.
Absolutely
When you smell like right before the rain, you can smell
the
like
rain hits. Yeah.
Ichor. It's called ichor.
I didn't know how to name.
Yeah, I can smell.
ICHOR.
I can smell the rain.
We always say you can smell the worms. That's what we say.
Yeah, so I can smell.
Uh-oh. No, computer. I locked up. Like, everything. There. Am I back? Maybe. Maybe. No! Well, I guess there's not a last race because I completely locked up. I think I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still here, sort of. I just can't hear anybody for some reason. So, yeah, I can't hear you guys. My computer just like crashed the game, locked up. Thanks for the hype. I don't know what happened. The Unreal process has crashed. UE Marbles on stream. So yeah, Marbles crashed. And now I can't hear nothing. So I'm guessing you guys can see me. So I don't know. I think that's it then. I think that's it. I don't know. Hold on. Let me try to exit and rejoin. Discord. Let's see if that works. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been able to hear you.
We can hear you the whole time.
Yeah, we can hear you the whole time.
The whole thing, like everything locked up, and I couldn't hear anything.
I was joking earlier because I turned your stream up and I'm like, oh, even chat can't hear us. We can say whatever we want. And then I was like, but don't trust me. Read a book.
Yeah, I can say you might be able to hear you, even though I couldn't. Who knows?
No, they couldn't. They couldn't. It like
I don't know.
I don't know what you use to stream, OBS or Streamlabs, but it crashed.
Yeah, I think it's my computer's just being ugly today. In general, and then Marbles crashed. And...
Stop it!
You know, I can still see you on Discord.
Yeah, I'm still live.
Yeah, Discord's fine, but her channel is down.
Oh, it's back up. It's back up.
Oh, it's back up now?
Yeah.
I didn't even lose it for a minute.
Yeah,
I did.
I never lost it.
Yeah.
I never lost it at all.
Oh, hey.
So yeah, it just flickered.
Say a bunch of stuff.
Just noticed something. On your right ear, can you flick your hair back a minute?
You mean my ear?
I can see your ear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have it fucking turned up? As in like up the way as opposed to like down?
No, it's got a little loop over your ear.
Oh, okay. I was fucking wondering there. I was about to go mental. So what the fuck crazy person has their, you know,
that's
like the
what gets your attention?
Well, mate, I'm mildly OCD. So see the so see the like, you know, when you get AirPods and they have the little microphone.
Yeah, you got the little Q-tip looking things coming out.
Where was this from tonight? Thank you.
I thought you had that up the way, and I was like, what a fucking crazy bastard.
Yeah, I'm gonna flick it up instead of down.
Yeah,
No,
I take the left
no, that would fall out.
Right, but upside down.
Even this tries to fall out all night. Even though it's looped over my ear, it still tries to slowly, because I talk so much and your jaw is moving, it'll try to work its way out of my ear and still try to fall out, and I have to catch it and push it back in. It's like ridiculous. I can't get it.
That's mad.
I can't find anything to actually stay in my ear.
Well,
the stream's going amazing. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Hollow. Be good, James.
Why is it only guys stream with headsets on?
I don't. Because it gets in our hair. It hurts. Because your hair wraps around all those parts and pieces. Well, then you just look like a guy, and nobody wants to talk to you. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, where did Kimono go?
Oh no, it's Commando.
Get ready.
Where did Kimono go?
Just like, oh gosh. I like to be able to see my hair, okay? I don't want to like.
Fair enough. If I had long, luxurious hair, I'd probably want to see it too.
Right?
Like
Yeah,
that,
me too. Me too.
This is a new Me Too. Oh, I did not just say that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that at all. I'll shut up.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Have you ever seen the clip from College Humor where the guy's like, okay, so this guy is clearly the commissioner. With the glasses on. Then he takes the glasses on. Like, where's the
Your hair is longer, Jeff.
Oh, puts it back on. He's like, oh, there you are. I thought we lost you for a minute there.
So
Jeff has longer hair than me.
Clark Kent glasses
Jeff,
on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the 70 months. Holy cow.
Wow. Put an R on there. Hype-here.
Hype-here. Very good job. Very good job there.
Yes.
Excellent
Wonderful.
Job. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome in at the end of my stream as I'm saying goodbye. Poor Jeff. Poor Jeff. He works hard. He hardly gets to catch my streams. He's probably on his way home from work right now.
Am I mistaken, or does he work in some sort of medical setting?
No, that's Shane.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, that's Shane, though. He's a nurse.
He's a nurse. A male nurse.
That's a hard job. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Not just because he's a male, just
Yeah, he works like he walks like 15 to 20,000 steps a day or something ridiculous like that.
Easily up and down the hallways, checking rooms, changing whatever
type of nurse. You know, like a pediatric or just.
I think more like emergency.
I think he's ER. Yeah, I think he's ER.
Yeah, ER is even worse. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Do you know?
I only came here to say goodnight. Okay.
With most
I work
people
next
in
to the
healthcare system
hospital. Dang. Well, good night,
that,
Jeff. Thank you for saying hi. Hey, listen.
Oh, Jeff, are you where all the hospital people go to hang out after work? Are you at like a diner or a bar or
I'll let him decide whether he wants to say. I'm sure he's said on stream before.
It's fine. I'm not trying to pry. I'm not trying to.
No.
You fucking are, mate.
I mean, I am. Out of curiosity, but like they don't have to answer. It's fine.
Yeah. But I'm sure he sees foot
I watch
traffic.
a lot of medical dramas, and there's always like a diner across from the hospital or whatever. Yeah.
There he goes.
As the person that owns
they get
that
the
diner,
coffee. Yeah. Okay.
As the person that owns that diner, you know that's probably the fucking smartest spot. Like,
100%.
Absolutely, dude.
Jeff stays very busy.
Put a spot right next to the hospital that serves people a bunch of junk food and caffeine.
I've got another one for you. See someone who owns
liquor.
a diner.
You don't even have to see.
See someone who owns a diner right next to a bank. They're making fucking money when that shit gets robbed, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can guarantee you.
I'm gonna rob a bank and go to the diner.
No. So here's my logic. So here's my logic. Because I can guarantee that the FBI.
Because they're teasing it out at the diner. Okay.
Or when something does go down, you know,
Welcome back, Michigan.
Or like Inside Man,
Welcome.
take over the diner. They've got to pay the diner all the money that he would get in that day in order to take it over for his, like, you know.
You watch too many movies.
Yeah.
Don't judge me.
I'm not.
Oh boy.
We judge with love, though. We judge, but we judge
with
love.
Yeah.
You're a cunt, but you're
you're my favorite cunt. Yeah. You're a cunt, but
your
you're my
Scottish
favorite
is
cunt.
coming out.
Sorry, my bad.
Alright, let's see. Who do I want to raid? Do I want to raid a random person? Why not? I haven't done it in a while.
I can guarantee you. See when
raid a random marbles person.
Taking over the bank, or just like, sorry, quiet for a minute. My bad.
Let's see who the top marble person is, and then let's raid the lowest.
Right.
So like 10 people to about 7
on stream channels.
Okay, I was being optimistic.
Studios Clip Sword by who recommended for you.
Apparently my headphones had not charged.
Viewers low to high.
I know, did you get the bleeping as well?
Yeah, just now.
Muted, Tilted Friday.
I even charge them while I'm wearing them?
Yeah.
I can't mine.
Oh, I could, but it's like this weird USB
D or B, the old square one.
Have you got noise
canceling? Somebody with a camera.
Me, yeah.
It's like
and
the one with the big long flat side.
I actually have my Astros too.
Less viewers than me.
Figure out what the issues were.
So we can find that. So we got a camera. So
I have to sit down and do it.
What was up with the whole like sharing your audio thing?
It's through the app. It's through the app.
Actually, don't answer that now because I'm about to take mine off and plug them in.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean?
Talk about it after.
Let's see.
Yeah, I got Steel Series, but they're noise cancelling.
Yeah, sorry, mine.
And it's like, mate, I never experienced such great noise cancelling fucking headphones in my life. And not only that, see when I'm playing Call of Duty, see the spatial awareness.
So that's the problem with the lowest ones. Nobody has cameras.
Surround sound, like the 7.2, to know whether it's coming from
keep my hand over
left
here
or back right. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
It's not working.
Day
Hello?
3.
Yeah, it's working.
Of
we can hear.
It's not working.
We can hear you.
Stream anniversary. Oh, they're switched to geocaster. They switched to geocaster versus marbles. Let's try back to you.
I really wish I had a better fucking ad blocker on my computer because I'm so fucking sick and tired of everything coming up with ads.
Oh my god!
Whether it be YouTube, whether
Aren't
it be
they the
fucking
best?
Twitch. No, it's not you. It's if
I
I'm
know.
honest, it's because I'm not subscribed to that's why it comes up.
Hello there.
Yeah.
Welcome back then.
I guess an incentive.
Hello there.
Hello?
Who are these guys? I don't know.
Welcome, guys!
Holy fuck, I can see Tex's eyes.
He has eyes, yes.
Yeah, but it's not so squinty though.
It's not.
Who's this one? Okay, we're gonna do this one.
Love you, brother.
This person's name, they're doing Tilted, which is an interesting version if you guys want to see of marbles, which freaks me out. I don't do Tilted. But we're gonna read, this person is called Doc Chaos. We're gonna read Doc Chaos.
Are you still hanging out here or are you gone?
Probably going to crack, but because my head's pounding, but we're gonna do a raid first. So if you guys can help me with raid hype, that would be great.
Undeal.
Can I join first?
Yeah. Let's see, copy pasta. Are you ready to raid? 16 viewers are now ready to raid. Let's see. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything.
Emojis.
See. Oh, wrong button. I'll catch you guys next time. Get ready.
Kimono. You have fun, mate. Take care of yourself. Nice seeing you. I don't have any kimonos fucking things in a different channel because